Morning, good morning, good morning. What is going on? All right, so I'm I'm trying something different today. Well, first of all, my light's not working, so there's that. So let me start off with my regular morning routine. Good morning, welcome, good to see you. 10:38 a.m. See, I have to start all over. 10:38 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here on a Friday in what seems to be sunny South Florida, but it is actually sunny, chilly. It's back to 53 degrees. It was like 44 or something this morning. So it's crazy weather. I mean, listen, I know people are struggling through snow right now, and they're like, "Oh, you got no snow and you're complaining." No, I get it, but it's so weird living in Florida and the temperature is getting like low like this. It's like this is just an oddball week. Anyhow, I am enjoying the cold weather, so it's fine. I get to wear my hoodies. Anyways, we're trying something a little different today. We're doing our regular, working and coffee stream, which is basically I get my work done, uh, while I get to chit chat with you guys and just kind of share ideas and maybe share what I'm doing. And today, I'm actually going to be talking about or trying to answer questions and explain things in regards to setting up. I was playing with my cat and now I have like cat hairs on me. Sorry. Anyways, I'm going to be explaining and talking about things in regards to setting up an Etsy shop, connecting it to a Printify account, and being able to sell print on demand items. And the reason I'm going to talk about that, and the whole reason why I'm doing this today, is because I have a friend of mine, which will probably come into the stream a little bit later. He's in California time, so he's still sleeping probably. But he does art. He does great art. And for those of you that are part of the community, you know who we're talking about. He goes by a couple of different names. So when he gets here, we'll see which name he's using today. But the idea is that he creates art. He actually paints. He's not using AI. He's not doing digital art. He actually paints these fantasy things and also some commission work. And he's really good. In fact, if you look right next to my head, where is it? Right there. I'm pointing at it. This painting right there of a dwarf named Stumpy, which has basically a peg leg, and there's like a little skeleton monkey with him. I think that's kudos to Pirates of the Caribbean. Anyways, that painting is from him, and I've shown this painting several times in my streams or my videos. But yeah, that's his work. He does really good work, but he doesn't give himself enough credit, and he really does talks himself down. Like he doesn't. I don't know what it is. The guy's really good. He can do some good stuff, and yeah, he's not really pushing his items. So what I'm thinking is that I want to get him to at least try to open up an Etsy shop, try to get a print on demand shop, and maybe sell his art not as his originals, but as prints of his original, and maybe even canvas wall art prints. But the idea that he doesn't even have a shop right now. It's like, how are you going to be seen? He's like, well, nobody will ever buy my stuff. That's not true. I've got a shop on Etsy. I've got a couple of shops on Etsy. And yeah, I'm not a big seller yet. I just started doing this 2 years ago. And I'll be honest, my first year, I made my first half a year, I made nothing. I made like peanuts. My second year, then my real first year, that's what it is. My real first year, I made about, I'd say a little under $1,000. I probably made like anywhere between, it was like 750 to maybe 900. And that's what I made. And I was like, I'm just getting started. And I was selling low cost products. So that's why it wasn't a lot of money. Then I changed what I was doing. And then this past year, I made about 3,500 in sales. So that's a big jump from like the first year to the second year. It's not great. It's not paying my bills or anything, but it is showing progression that I'm doing something right. And that's where I keep going, and I'm doing that. Now, people are buying my stuff. My stuff has digital art in. My stuff is home decor. I deal with blankets. I deal with, I make pillows, pillow covers. I do canvas wall art. I do limited prints. I do some art prints, fine art prints, I should say, which I print here in the studio. And so I do a couple of different things, but I stuck around a certain theme. And at no time did I ever think in my head, no one's ever going to buy my stuff. No, because you don't know. You just got to put it out there. Anyways, so that's kind of what we're going to be doing today. Whenever he comes in, I'm going to get some work done. We're going to be on stream. We're going to talk. I saw Drunken Dragon Gaming just came in. Good to see you, brother. Good morning. I am also, the other thing that I'm trying today, which I was trying to talk about earlier, and I just sidestepped into something else, is we are trying to do this multi-streaming again. I see that OBS just released something that says it's a multi-stream, and you're able to stream on YouTube and Twitch, and I think some others at the same time. So I'm testing it out today, see how it's going. I'm able to see. Well, let me see if I can see the chat here. It's weird because it's not giving me the YouTube chat, but I do see it on my screen because I have it open. Let me see if I can click in there. Now, the only other thing that I'm noticing is that it is running twice. So I don't know why it's running twice, to be completely honest. So I'm going to just let it be. I think if I click off on one of these, maybe the whole thing will go down. I don't know. So we'll see how that works out. But I do have a screen open where I can see the YouTube chat. And Drunken Gaming is obviously on YouTube right now. So I'm going to switch to my other screen now. Let me see if I can put this here. I'm going to put this right there. And then I'm going to put this over here. That way I can see both chats. I don't know why it's not coming up on my Stream Elements YouTube chat. So we will dismiss that for now. And let me double check, make sure things are good on Twitch. Okay, so I think we're good. We're all right. So we're going to go into our regular view here. Let's see. Yeah, let's go to multi-box. So we're going to do this view today. I don't have this light on. For some reason, it's not connecting to my Wi-Fi. This is my Elgato light, which is really pissing me off right now that it's not connecting. I don't know why. Lurking while working? Awesome, brother. I usually have some music in the background, but YouTube is really weird on that. And because we're doing a multi-stream today, I don't want the audio to be cut off on the YouTube one. So I'm going to try to keep no music today. I know most people are like, when you're doing co-working, you have to have music in the background. Yeah, that's just not happening right now. So we're going to try to answer some questions. I'm going to bring up some questions and give some insight on how to set this up, with the things to look out for, because it's not as, look, first of all, it is easy. It's easy to set up an Etsy shop. It's not going to rocket science. Let's get that out of the way first. Let me open up a website here. It's not difficult. And it's not difficult to open up a Printify account either. Does it cost money? No. There may be a setup fee, because at some point, I'm going to log into both of my my Printify and my Etsy, one of my Etsys, I should say. Does it cost money to start an Etsy account? No, it does not. But there's a little disclaimer. Sometime last year or the year before, at some point, they decided that they were going to start doing some setup fees, because so many people were opening up their shop but doing nothing with it. And you know that it does take someone to press buttons and certain things to actually take up space in order to set up a shop. So they were trying to discourage people from creating shops that were literally just making them and not doing anything with them, because it actually cost absolutely nothing to create a shop on Etsy. The only problem with that was, again, it would, let's say you had, 100 people making shops in one day. I'm just throwing out a random number. And when they did that, and only out of those 100 people, 10 of those people actually used the shop and started selling, started putting stuff up. So the other 90 shops that opened did absolutely nothing. They just took up space. So because of that, they came up with a setup fee. And the setup fee is something like $15 or $10. It's not a lot of money. So even if there is a setup fee for Etsy, and I checked to see if there was one, and it does mention that there is one, it just doesn't it doesn't clearly say that it is a standard that is happening. So I'm not sure 100% if it's still being charged or not. But if it is, it's $15. Okay, like I said, $10 or $15. It's not a big deal. So that's I think anyone that's going to start a shop and start an Etsy shop and start to sell online and get the availability of being able to market through their Etsy shop to millions of possible customers, millions. I think $10 or $15 is not a lot of money to spend. Okay, it's not. And if you hang out on Twitch, half the time you're spending like $5 on somebody subscribing to someone. Yep. So that's kind of the idea, is that it's not a lot of money, and when you think of the scope of it or what you're getting, it's a lot. It's worth it. Now, the other thing that you end up paying for, just FYI, just letting you know, when you set up an Etsy account and you list something, if you're going to list an item for sale, let me go to see if I can go to my shop here. 1 second. When you're listing something, like you have these listings down here, each one of those listings is going to cost you 20 cents. So every time you list something, it's 20 cents. So if you have 100 listings, like I have 103 right now, that means I've paid $20. Is that right? 20 cents to $20. Does that make sense? Is it $20 or is it $200? Shit, I don't know. Sorry, I just did it wrong. I did $1, 100. Geez, I can't do math today. Okay, here's the decimal. Boom, boom, $20. Yes, that's what it is. Anyhow, the point being, it's like it's not a lot of money. It's not $2. And when you sell something, you pay a transaction fee. So let's say you sell something, and I have a sheet that I can show you. I'm going to bring it up. These are just random. We're just going through random conversations about this. Let's go to my Google Drive. I think I have it there. Google Drive. It should be under my POD. Okay. I'm going to make a new one so that we can work with some random stuff. This would be, actually, I don't even using this one, so I'm going to use this. I'm going to go all the way over here, grab that. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to make a new one. Spreadsheet. And I'm going to drop that in there. Perfect. Okay, close this. Close that one. Close this one. Close this one. And we're going to grab this and put this over here so we can look at it. Okay, now can I make this bigger? Got it. Let's try to make this a little bit bigger. All right, I'm going to do it this way. In fact, I'm going to go over to, this is just an example. Let's go over to a main thing. I have a game I've been playing that I can't play that music in while I'm on YouTube. So I created a Suno playlist to play while I'm on, so that there's not just silence at times. Ah, that's interesting. Yeah, Suno is if I'm not mistaken, isn't Suno an AI music maker? That's actually a smart idea. Yeah, I should do that. I just haven't had time to do that right now. That's a good tip, man. I appreciate that. Okay, let me switch over to the desktop 2, which will be this one. And then I'm going to put myself down in this corner right here. That would be better. So this is an example of if I was going to sell fine art posters through Printify. So I go to Printify, and we haven't talked about Printify yet, but Printify is basically a fulfillment provider. It's where you would get like t-shirts, blankets, freaking door hangers, whatever, anything that they sell, that they offer through other printers, because what they do is they're the middleman. They basically provide you access to worldwide or global, whatever word you want to use there, manufacturers that create products that you can put your design onto. Okay. They take care of all of that because all you do is you go on there, and I'll show you an example in a moment. You pick an item. In this case, let's say we're going to do a fine art poster. I was choosing, who is this person? Let's see. Print Clever is the company that actually works through Printify to provide this fine art poster. I'm not, by the way, I don't sell these. This is just an example. And let's say they offer an 8x10 and 11x14. And then they have an item cost and a ship cost and so forth. So this is why you connect to Printify, because you don't have to keep any inventory. And I know we're talking about Etsy, and we're going to talk about Etsy fees in just a second, but I just want to, because of the fact that I'm showing Printify information here, I just want to go through this. Printify is going to be your fulfillment. So you don't have to have any inventory. You don't have to do any shipping. You don't have to do anything other than put your design on a product, make the mock-ups, list the product on Etsy, and then when a sale comes in, you can either have it automated so that it immediately goes into production, or you can review it, make sure it's correct, make sure you're okay with the order, and go ahead and submit the order through Printify. In other words, approve it. And then when they create it, they go ahead and ship it out to the person. How does the money work there? Okay, let me explain that. When you get paid on Etsy, because the person's going to use their credit card, they're going to buy your item on Etsy, Etsy's going to charge them, and they're going to pay you. So they're going to pay you the full amount of whatever it is that you're due after their fees. It takes, I think it's every 30 days or something that they basically will then send the money to your bank, assuming that you've set up your bank information. And so your money will go to you at the end of the month and so forth. Okay. I think they have a specific time when they do this. Let me double check, make sure I'm still connected here. Yeah. So that's done. Now what happens with Printify is that Printify will have your credit card on file, whatever it is that you put in there. And so when an order comes in, they're going to charge you for the cost and the shipping of it. Okay. So you'll pay that through your credit card or whatever it is, whatever method you end up setting up. Usually it's a credit card. So when the money, so you have to think of it this way. You're getting money from Etsy, but you're also paying for the cost and the shipping of the item. So then obviously whatever is left over of that is your profit. Okay. So I know it's a little confusing, but it makes sense. So what is something that you should have for this? You should have a credit card that you can use for this kind of business, because of the fact that, yes, you will be paying for something, but you're getting paid back and you're making a profit, if that makes any sense. And I'll walk you through the flow so you can understand what I'm talking about here. But let me just give you a breakdown of Etsy fees, because I've created this. I grabbed an example item, fine art poster. It's made by a company called Print Clever. They'll be the manufacturer. It's through Printify. An 8x10 or an 11x14. The item cost is $5.73 for an 8x10, $9.95 for an 11x14. Now, my cost is a little bit cheaper because although you can make a Printify account for free, you could also join their premium account, which is like $200. I think it's about $200 or $249 a year. And when you do that, you get your cost is less. In other words, they give you the premium cost so that you can make a little bit more profit. Regardless, depending on the item, whether you're a free account or not, you're still going to get a profit. Just bear with me on that. We'll look at the differences a little later. So anyway, so here's the item cost. Then that item has a shipping. The shipping for an 8x10 is $6.99. And incredibly, for an 11x14, it's the same thing. So right there is your item cost and your ship cost. This is what you will be paying out of your pocket when an order comes in. Okay? Now, if they ordered an additional item of this same type, let's say they ordered 2 8x10s, the additional shipping for that additional item that you would pay is $1.99. Now, let me just say this. when two items are purchased on Etsy, you're charging basically that shipping twice, unless you're putting an additional item. It's weird the way it works out. I'm going to say it this way because it gets confusing. Let's just say this. When you're setting up your shipping on Etsy, because you get to decide how much am I going to charge for shipping. And we're going to talk about shipping in a moment. And let's say you do charge $6.99. Okay, so that will be in the field of when they order. There is an additional column when they ask for a second item of that. Now, you need to look at what it's going to cost you for an additional item. If sometimes the cost is the same, then you better make sure you're putting the same, unless you want to take a loss and put it in somewhere else. But if it's just like $1.99 or whatever extra it is, you can put that amount, or you can say, it's going to be $2 something, or you can say it's free and then you eat the cost. There's different ways of doing it. That comes into another conversation, but keep that in mind. When it's the ordering more than one item, there is a separate additional item shipping. So make sure you are charging for that as well. So here we go. I'm going to go forward now. So that would be the item cost, the item ship. Now, don't worry about this information. This is something some math that I was working through. This is markup 1, markup 2. Basically what we're doing is we're taking the item, we'll multiply it by 2. This is just an example. Multiplying it twice by 2. Actually, you multiply by 2, then you multiply it by 1.5. And basically that gives you a suggested price of what you would charge. And again, these are all make-up numbers. I'm not using this at all. But what I want to show you is when we get down here. So here's a suggested price based on that calculation. And then based on your own research on what's on Etsy that's similar to what you're selling, you want to be competitive. You don't want to lowball. You don't want to be like, I want to race to the bottom and sell the cheapest. You want to see where the average is for the people that are selling good quality products that are in the same range, is the same kind of quality as you. So you want to kind of get an idea of where the market is at and what's actually selling, not just listing at that amount. And so once you have that, you come up with your own number. So you notice that the suggested price based on this crazy math that I was doing for fun was $24.18 and $36.84 for an 8x10 and 11x14. But if you look at the listing price, and this is what I manually entered, I decided based on the research that if I were to list these, somebody just favorited something on Etsy. If I were to list these, I would list them at $28 or $39. Okay. So that would keep those competitive. I'm not racing to the bottom. It also shows that, hey, I believe my product is worth something. And it also gives you room for doing discounts later if you wanted to. Now, keep this in mind because a lot of people do this and it's wrong. There is a law against this. Sometimes people raise their prices in order to, like, let's say I set this price at 28, right? And then down the road, 3 months later, 6 months, whatever, I decide that I want to give a discount. And I'm like, oh, I want to do like a 30% discount or a 40% discount or something and, really sell. But then I realize that if I do a discount at this price, it's really going to eat into my profit and I'm going to be screwed. And I'm like, damn, I'm going to lose money. So in order to say I still want to do that 40% discount, there are some people that have actually increased their base price before they do their discount. So they'll increase it like, let's say a week before or a couple, like, whatever, a week before they go on discount, they increase the value, the base price, I'm sorry. Then they go and they do the discount because now they're like, yeah, still making money. That's actually illegal. You cannot raise, it's an FCC law or something. You got to look it up. You cannot raise prices, your base price, to offer a discount because you're basically trying to like maneuver a freaking scam right there. So that is illegal. And there are people that do that. Or when people list items, let's say, for example, instead of doing 28 for a product that I suggested 24, and then the average market price is around, let's say 25 to 31. And I put mine at 28. And I'm saying, well, I want to give a discount and I still want to make money. So I decide instead of doing 28, I'm going to put it at, I don't know, let's say 39 or 39. I want to stay under 40, but I'm doing it at 39. Okay. If I'm doing it at 39, and the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm going to put a discount on it and I'm going to keep it discounted. So I'm always going to have a 20 or 30% on it. And I'll still make about the same that I would have made if I would have priced it at the price that it should be listed at. Do you understand that? That's wrong too. And so don't do those things. List the item based on what you see in the market, what a good average is, what keeps you in the nice sweet spot where you're still making a profit and you have room to do a discount and still make a profit. That's important. That's the planning part. See, although making an Etsy shop and making a Printify account is easy and it costs like little to no money, it's this stuff that's important, because this is the stuff that's going to matter down the road. If you make your products cheap, they're going to look as cheap. In other words, if I'm going to sell an 8x10 for freaking $7.99, which would be ridiculous because I make absolutely no money on it. Because what do we look at here? Look at it's costing me $5.73, and I'm going to say $7.99, and they still have to pay shipping of $6.99. Yeah, I'm making like what, $2? Not even $2. I'll probably make less than that because of the Etsy fees. That's lowballing. That's like you're just trying to be the cheapest, so you're making nothing. So you really take that into consideration. And that's the other thing. People are going to be like, wow, it's like, that's really cheap. What the hell's wrong with it? You got to think mentality. And so you want to price your stuff at something that is average market, what's out there, what's similar. It's like doing a comp. When you go to sell your house, what do they do when you're coming up with a price for your house? They look at the neighborhood and they look at what's sold in your neighborhood and how much they're going for a house that is similar to yours in size, number of rooms, what they offer, the age maybe. So they look at all these things and they get what's called a comp. So they get kind of this one sold for $1 million that's very similar to your house. Your house can sell for very close to that if houses are selling for that amount in your home. So that's the same thing you do here. It's finding comps. All right, let's move on. This is the whole reason why we started doing this right here. So suggested price, let's say forget that. Let's go to the list price, shipping price. And in this case, I decided I'm not going to charge shipping. So there is no, for this example, we're not doing any shipping price. It's free shipping for any US purchases. And the reason why is because the price of the cost of item and ship is in the price. Yes, it is. So you'll see how after all the costs, what you actually end up making. So here, you now see your listing fee, which is 20 cents. You list the item for 20 cents on Etsy. Etsy gets 20 cents every time you list an item. When it sells, it will relist itself and charge you another 20 cents. So every time it sells, you're paying that 20 cents again to relist it. Keep that in mind. Then there's the Etsy transaction fee. Now, the Etsy transaction fee is a 6.5%. That's why that math is there. So you multiply the end result, which is the price and shipping, I believe, yeah, the price and shipping together, and then multiply that by 6.5%. And that gives you your Etsy transaction fee. Okay, so that's that one. Now, then you have your Etsy processing fee. This one is about 3.25%. It's basically, no, sorry, my mistake. No, this one is 3% plus 25 cents. That's what it is. I'm sorry, my mistake. And so basically you're paying 3% plus 25 cents. So in total, if you were to do this math, you're basically looking at 6.5 plus 3 is 9.5%, plus 20 and 25 is 45 cents. So so what did I say? 9.5? Yeah, 9.5% plus 45 cents. That's what you're paying in fees. So when you make a sale, you are paying those fees. Now, how much are those fees together? Well, here it is here. If I sum it up, for an item that I'm selling for $28, no shipping, I'm paying a fee of $3.11. That's what they get from that. Now, I'm also having to pay for my cost of the item, which is the item costs and the shipping. And here, this is costing me $12.72. So after taking away cost and fees, on an 8x10, I would be making, in this hypothetical situation, $12.17, which is a profit margin of 43%. And they say that when you're somewhere in a 30 or 40% profit margin, that's pretty damn good. You're okay there. You're making something. You are making what the product actually cost. $12.72 is that? You're making $12.17. You're almost making exactly what it actually costs you after you pay it. You see what I'm saying? So that's good. So that's a good thing. Now, here's the example of discounting. So at a $28 for an 8x10, if I were to give a 10% discount, now I'm selling it for $25.20, and my profit now is $9.37. If I decide I'm going to do a 20% instead, now my discount price is $22.40, and you'll notice my discount profit is going to be $6.57. Listen, if you're selling a lot of these and you want to get some exposure and you want to run a sale because you're like, I'm going to do a sale. I see a lot of people favoriting my stuff, but they're not buying. So if they're favoriting and it's sitting in their cart, let me do a sale and get them to close out. And then you decide, I'm just going to do a 20%. And yes, I'm going to make half, a little more than half of what I normally would make in a profit, but I'm going to generate sales, which in turn will then generate more views, because every time you sell something, it gets boosted up. Every time somebody favorites something, it gets boosted up. And so that's the idea. So yes, you are dropping in your discount profit, but you might generate some sales, which will then push your shop even further. Because here's the thing. It's not about making sure that all of your items are getting seen. It's that some key items get seen, because then when they go to that item and they look at it and they say, what else is this person offering? Now they're going to look at your shop and they're going to browse through and they're going to see that you offer other items as well. And maybe they'll favorite some other items that were not seen before, and those will get boosted into the actual algorithm again as well. So that's where this is the part that I don't think a lot of people talk about, because of the fact that if you have a shop that is making some sales and then they're saying, well, you got to make sure that you put your products up, 4 months before the season that you're going to sell for, because it needs to get into the algorithm. You know what? That is true to an extent. But if you have a shop, let me go back to my multi-box. But if you have a shop that is selling items already, is getting viewed, if you put something for Halloween the month before in September, not 3 months before, not 4 months before, but if you start listing things a month before, those items will still be seen. Why? Because your shop is already getting traffic. So chances are that, yes, they will be seen. It will take longer for them to get into the natural algorithm, but for the fact that your shop is already visible and people will see these new items that you put up, you'll still get people seeing it and people buying it. It's not 100% guarantee, but it's just the way that human nature works. And that's the thing. It's almost like car dealers. When you're driving by and you see a nice fancy car and this car dealer's there, you've seen them before, maybe you even shopped at them before, and you always see the row of cars that they have there. And they have some new cars on the lot that they're not showcasing, but you might see a car up there that you've been looking at. You might see a car on the display on the street that you're like, that's a really nice car. And you're going to go into that car dealer thinking of that car, but then you're going to see they're new items that just came in. They're new cars that are in the back, and you're like, oh, these are new. You got these, and then you start looking at those, and you might end up liking one of those. So that's the thing. It's like you don't know what's going to pull them into the shop, but the whole idea is that something will, and they'll look at the rest of your stuff too. It'd be great if everything does well and everything gets seen, but in reality, you're going to have some that are hit or miss. You're going to have some that never get views. You're going to have some that do get views. And it's really hit or miss. Okay. Anyways, that little, this little spreadsheet that I showed you a second ago, I actually create that and use that for all my listings. I actually have a sheet where any product that I sell, I have all the descriptions, like the item cost, the ship cost, additional cost, what my suggested price is based on the markup that I'm doing, my listing price. It shows me what fees I'm paying for. So this is what I use every day. And it's important to have that because you want to be able to look at something at any time and be like, how much am I making on this? Is this lowball? Because you know what? Every 6 months, I look at my items and I think, wow, I'm really not where I need to be with this item, or the cost has raised for some reason. And that has happened. I've had a couple of blankets that they were a certain amount and then they, for some reason, cost more now. I have some canvases that did the same thing where one size used to be, let's say $10 and now it's cost me $15. And so that all plays into your profit and into the fees and all that. So you need to make sure that you adjust for that. And that would be going through your spreadsheet and adjusting that, because at the end of the month, when you're looking at what you sold and what you paid out, and it's not equaling out, you're like, wait, I'm losing money now, or I'm not making as much as my spreadsheet says I would have. It's because something has changed. Either the shipping charge or the cost of the item has changed. And you need to take that into account. The other thing is also, if you have a good quality product and you're lowballing yourself because you were trying to race to the bottom, don't do that. Look at your stuff, decide what is your stuff really worth? And what are things being sold out there for? Like I said, take the averages, take the comps, price your stuff right. Don't be desperate for a sale, because most of the time when you open this stuff, this should not be your sole way of making money until it takes off. And for me, thank goodness I have the opportunity that I can invest time into this to try to take this off. But yes, I'm seeing it starting to grow, but it's not growing to where like, oh, I'm making thousands of sales or I'm a millionaire. No, I'm not. I'm nowhere near that. But it's kind of like it's like a marriage. You work at it every day and it flourishes. You know what I mean? It's like a freaking kid. When you have a child, you feed that child, you give them morals, values, you raise them properly, you train them up to be a good member of society, hopefully. Whatever it takes, and at the end you'll have some blessing, you know what I mean? And that's kind of the same thing with these shops, is that what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. But yeah, when I started, did I put some crap products up there? Absolutely. They didn't get sales, and no one even looked. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing? So I had to get rid of it. I'll give you an example of one product right now that I have that I thought would be great and has done absolutely nothing. And that's this one here. This is an accent coffee mug, because the inside is a color and the outside is a color, and then it's white. And I made this because I was having a conversation with someone that's very near and dear to my heart, and they were really down on themselves, and they were really in a place that was very dark. And the conversation was like basically short end, which is why it says this, is that you are enough. Because they're like, what if I'm not this? What if I'm not that? What if I can't do this? And so it's like, you are enough, period. And then I said today, tomorrow, and always. And I remembered that, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a mug. And I made this mug. Has it sold? Absolutely not. Is it still up there? Yes. Why? Because for me, it's still a symbol of something that means something to me. And maybe one day somebody will see this and be like, yeah, I want that cup. And maybe not. I don't know. But it's costing me 20 cents to keep it up there for 3 to 4 months. By the way, I didn't mention that. When you list something with Etsy, it stays on sale, like it stays up there for like 3 or 4 months, and then you have to pay 20 cents again. So hopefully within the 3 to 4 months it sells, and then it resets itself. So that's kind of the idea. But anyways, but yeah, I have products that didn't sell. It is what it is. You just got to keep going. Okay, so that was that. Now, I'm trying to think where I'm at, and I'm waiting to see for a fact, because I've got for my buddy to get here, but I've got a couple of videos that actually walk you through doing this, and I might actually show them or give them to them for him to see. Well, you know what? Now I guess I'll do some work. It's very, so by the way, I should show you in Printify real quick. So Printify, like I'm doing canvases. Like yesterday, if you were here yesterday, you saw yesterday's stream, and I had my VOD up. I was putting up some canvas wall art based on some prints that I was doing as a collection on my other shop. On this shop, I sell them as canvases, and they're not limited, and they're not a collection, but I still like the image as a canvas. So I put them up here, and possibly sometimes I take those same images and make them into what's called a blanket or a pillow, depending. So am I stuttering? Let me make sure. So I'm going to close this out for a moment. I don't need that. Keep that there. So for example, let's see. Let's say I'm going to go to the catalog. I'm going to look at all the catalog stuff. I'll switch back over to the desktop for a second. So if I'm looking at this, they have a lot of stuff. Okay, so I could decide on what I'm looking for by looking at, I can look at bestsellers or anything like that. Or bestseller. Let's go to bestsellers. That'll be easy. So I go to bestsellers, and obviously bestsellers has t-shirts, some sweatshirts. If that's something you're into, there's the mugs. There's the accent mugs. It's just the actual design that I use is no bueno. They have phone cases. These are just the bestsellers. Obviously, there's more stuff. There's some other coffee mugs. There's some canvas. There's some canvases there. Here's a velveteen plush blanket. Here's a vertical poster, maybe some stickers. I don't waste my time with stickers unless you're selling a collection of them, then it's okay. Selling a single sticker and charging the shipping for a single sticker is ridiculous. Candles, hoodies. Here's a tote bag, a zip-up hoodie. Here's an infant fine jersey bodysuit. Maybe you're into that. You want to sell that to kids or to moms, I'm sorry. Ceramic ornaments. More freaking clothes. So there's a lot of stuff. Here's something that I really would like to get into. But I have a laser engraver, and I've been wanting to do this. My biggest problem is that the shipping is probably going to be a lot. So for example, this item here is, I don't even know how it's, yeah, here it is. It's 7 by 13.5 inches. So it's fairly, I have a 13 about here. Yeah. So it's about like that. It's pretty, it's decent. So they sell these. And so if I want to see how much this is going to cost, and I also have to look at, is it engraved or is it like, can you what are you putting on it? I mean, can I put anything on it? Can I put color? So here it is here. This is where you can tell now how much this is going to be. I'm going to make this bigger so you can see this for a second. So if I look at this is made by a company called Fancy Fanny. Nice. And they offer it in walnut and in maple. And they also offer 4 sizes. There's a 13.5 by 7. There's a 13 with a drip ring. I don't know what that is, but okay. There's also a 9 by 6. So they have 2 different sizes, but they have four options or 2 options for each. So let's just go with a 13.5 by 7. Okay, that's a little bit bigger. So this one, remember how I was saying the premium price? So if you're not a member and you have a free account, it's going to cost $40.71 for this. What is this called? Cutting board. So that's what that's going to cost. But because I have the membership, it's only costing me $30.05. So that's how much it's going to cost me. Then we're going to take the shipping. So shipping standard in the US, I always look at US. I know, I think most of the time this is where I sell, but yes, you can look at what's it going to cost to the rest of the world and Canada as well. And if you take these into account, by the way, if you're doing free shipping, you're going to have to get an average of all of this because you want to try to build the cost of the shipping into your item, the price wise. But you want to have an average. You're not going to be able to like say, okay, it's going to be this much for wherever it's selling. No, it's going to be one price. But that's why I do free shipping in the US. Shipping is either somehow incorporated into the price and still give them a low price, or I sometimes charge less shipping than it would actually be, but still charge them a little bit so that it's able to be, kind of like, I don't want to have to raise the price on my item so much. But that's what everybody does. This isn't a norm. It's like you incorporate the shipping costs and the cost of the item together. So in this case, let's look at the 13.5 by 7. So if I look at this one, the shipping cost is going to be $17.69. If they buy 2, the additional item for shipping would cost $3.29. So that's important there to know that. So what are we looking at? Let's round off. 17, let's say 18 and 30. So 40, basically 48. So this item is going to cost me $48. Was there a difference in price in, oops, sorry, didn't mean to do that. We're going to get there. Was there a difference in price in the walnut versus the maple? So the maple's a little cheaper. The maple is 28 versus 30, so $2. So what do we say? $48? So anywhere between basically $46 and $48 for this item. That would be your cost. So now let's figure out what can we actually put on this. So it looks like you can just about put anything on this. So let's go ahead and do, once we decide that's what we want. By the way, when you're on here, you want to look at all this information. All this product detail is important. You want to see, is it complicated to wash? Is there anything you have to be careful for that you have to let them know? Like here it says hand wash. So you probably want to say something like not dishwasher safe, something along that lines. You want to hand wash it. Then you want to give measurements. So these are measurements and so forth. So this is information that you use for your listing. So once you have that, let's say we go to start designing. And I'm going to go to select variant. I'm going to turn off walnut. I'm only going to offer maple. Well, you know what? Yeah, I'm only going to offer maple. And there's a reason why. And I'll tell you in a second. So let's say we're going to do maple. And we're only going to offer, in this particular case, just for our example, we're going to offer this one here. What is this? Oh, okay. Drip ring. Actually, that's good. We want to do a drip ring. I just realized what that was. Now, why is the handle different? Ah, this is a paddle and this is not a paddle. I want it as a paddle. So let's do that. And now I'm going to go back here. So we're offering 2. We're offering the drip ring and the paddle, the regular paddle. So now we have to put a design in here. So I'm going to look at my library for a moment and see if I can find something that we can use for this. It's going to be a while because I have so many designs. I got to go back. We're just going to use something random just for fun. Trying to see if I've got something that, okay. Yeah, here we go. Let's go ahead and use this. I wonder if it's going to come out in white background. I wish I had something that was a PNG, because I think that will be, maybe that will come out white. Man, I don't have anything that's like a vector. My calm floral. Oh, no, it's not going to work there. Let's see. And we can put anything on it, but I'm just curious to see if I can put a design on it. There we go. Let's just use this for funsies. Okay. And it has white on it. So I'm going to, so this says, I don't cheat death, I taunted. Obviously it's D&D. Let's see if I can get a little closer. Do this. So that's what it is. So now it's on both of them. If I wanted to make a different design on a specific size or variation, I can just simply say make a specific design, and then I can drop in whatever I wanted. So I can look at the resolution, says it's about 584 DPI, which is really good. I'm not going to do anything else. Now I'm going to preview this because I'm just curious to see what it's going to look like. And obviously there's some white in it. So is it going to show the white? So let's preview. And it does not. So it doesn't show any of the white. It's telling you what it's going to be like. And according to this, it's taking it and taking out all the color, and it's just going to put it like, this looks almost as if it's laser engraved. I believe that's what it is, and that's what I do here on my machine. So obviously I wouldn't do this here, but just to get an idea, this is costing $48. So if that's the case, let's go back for a moment. So I'm going to say edit, and I'm going to get rid of that image. I'm going to go back to my library for a moment, do this, and I'm going to try to find something that has color. Wait, that was good. So this is old. I'm just putting this in. I want to see what happens. So obviously we wouldn't put somebody's address or anything in here, but for our testing purposes, is what we're going to do. Let's do this. Let's do this. Go here. I want to see what it does to this. Does it add the red color or not? And I bet it, I'm going to assume it does not, but I'm also going to assume it takes off the white. So let's go ahead and preview. Yep, I was correct. So it's going to ignore anything that's color or white. So you're going to, well, white is a color. So what's going to happen is you're going to design these as, and by the way, there's a cut right there. So we got to make sure we get rid of that. So you're going to design this with just black in mind. So a vector image. But that's pretty cool. So anyway, so that's how that one works. Now, if I were to go ahead and do this and say I'm going to save this product, I'm just going to save it for fun. I'm obviously not going to sell this. So if I hit save product, it's going to go here. It's going to show me mockups for both styles. So obviously both styles are there. And then I'm going to go save selection because it's showing me both of them. I mean, if I'm selling both, that's fine. And then it goes into the listing. Now, Printify does some AI stuff where it generates a listing for you. And it's going to say home wreath, engraved wooden cutting board, personalized first Christmas address, engraving 2023. Obviously, this is all based on what it's reading here. And this was a Christmas design that I did back in 2023. So then it's going to give you a kind of a brief description. It's going to write it. Now, if you're using this and you're going to go with whatever they're giving you, make sure you read it. I personally don't like to use whatever they give because a lot of times it's one, very generic, and sometimes it just doesn't make sense to what I'm doing. So I like to create my own. But it does give you all the product features, which is important because it's showing you here. Remember how we said hand wash only, do not dishwasher safe? it's actually putting that in there. So that is a plus, that it's actually taking the information from the product detail and it's putting it in here. So that's good. So if anything, you want to keep this information because that is accurate to the actual product. So that's good. Yeah, care instructions. But as far as this is concerned, I would probably write my own. And again, this was an example of an old design, so it took the 2023 and all of that. Yeah, so that's that. So anyways, if I was ready to publish this, I would hit publish, but obviously there's a lot more you have to do. This is something here that I want to talk about. Let's stop for a second. So whatever products you're creating, if you're going to sell in Europe, UK, Europe, whatever, you're going to need to click on this in Printify. And the reason why you click on this is because there are some laws or some legal, and there's a video that explains this, but there are some liability and some legal things that you need to be aware of when you're selling to other countries. And one of them is they want the warnings, they want what the product is made, they want care instructions, they want information about the product and its details, and so forth. Now, Printify takes care of this for you because they have a representative. They have an address there. That's their EU representative that deals with all of this stuff and deals with the product being safe and being able to be sold here. And they're complying by providing this information on there. Then they're showing the product information, and that's the product information there. It's JDS Industries. There's a 2-year warranty in the EU and Northern Ireland as per directive, blah, blah, blah. That's a policy. And then it's showing you warnings and hazards. So it goes ahead and says blank product sourced from the USA. That's what it puts in there, that it meets the demand. Then the care instructions, it says hand wash. So in case there was something that was a warning, maybe it's made of a certain material, it's got a certain way of taking care of it, that stuff should be listed here. And again, by just clicking on this little button here, Printify will include this in your listing. So that's important. If you're going to be selling in the EU, you always have to click on that. If you're just selling in the US, then you don't have to worry about that. So that's up to you. The next thing that happens is these tags. Now, I'm not going to get into tags right now too much, but basically, this could be a whole nother stream. Tags are keywords. They're the way that people, when they search, if they hit some of your keywords or a combination of your keywords, there would be more chance of you popping up in their search. That's just how it is. That is the way. It's SEO, if you don't know, search engine optimization. That is the way people get seen and people get found, and that's the way the algorithm works on Etsy. So these things are important, and there are ways of learning how to make good ones or which ones people are searching for. There's tools out there for that. There's paid websites that actually show you all this information, like eRank. I think eRank is like $5 a month. There's Everbee. There was another one. I forgot the name of it. Profit Tree is another one. So all of these, they're able to show you these things, like what tags are being searched, what's actually being seen, and so forth. So I have those products, and I look at it like it says, check out eRank down here. So the other thing is that all of these can only be up to 20 characters, and there can only be 13 of them. Once you have those and you're okay with them, you list them, that's fine, and these will get transferred over to your listing. They can be changed down the road later on, but every time you make a change, it changes you in the algorithm, obviously. So it takes a while for it to take effect. So make sure you're choosing right things. Like for this particular example that we're doing, like a cutting board, it's saying wooden cutting, engraved board, home cutting, personalized gift, first Christmas because of the fact that it was a Christmas design, housewarming gift because it was related to their home, custom cutting, kitchen decor, charcuterie board, I can never say that, charcuterie, holiday kitchen, new home gift, rustic kitchen, family keepsake. Now, all of these were AI generated from the listing itself because this is built into Printify. You can keep these or you can change these. You can start off with these and you can modify them as you go. Once you know a little bit more about SEO and once you understand a little bit more about ranking with keywords. But they are at least giving you a head start. I will tell you this though. Their suggested keywords are sometimes better than the ChatGPT keywords that are suggested if you're running your product through ChatGPT and saying, give me a listing and give me the tags. Their tags are not as good as the Printify ones. But not saying the Printify ones are solid. I'm just saying if you were to compare those two. Because I've gotten some stupid tags from ChatGPT, and I'm like, what? No one's looking for this. No one's using those words. So it doesn't make any sense. I'm going to move on. Personalization. In personalization for your product, let's say, for example, you were going to put the name on this specific product. You want to go, like in this case, this would be personalized only because our silly example is that we made it where it's for their home. We're giving, and obviously this is very bad design. This is just an example. We're saying it's for their home. It's like our first Christmas in our new home. It obviously wouldn't say that, but in this case it does. But you'll notice that it has their address, and it also says Taylor and Sue Ellen, and it has a year. We probably would get rid of the year. But this would be an example of something that could be personalized because you can put their address and you can put their phone number. Again, this is not a real product. This is just an example. I threw whatever design up there. It just happens to be that it has some personalization on it. So when you go to this section out here that says enable personalization, it will then allow you to add only the text you want printed on your product, reach out to us directly for additional requests. So you can put in what it is that you want them to write, and then you can give them a character limit as far as how much and so forth they can write, and that's how you do it. Now, in Etsy, you can modify this as well, but just so you know, that's there. Okay. Shipping information, assign shipping profile. If this is the first time you are creating this product and the first listing, you would automatically allow it to assign and update the profile as needed. I would not touch this. I would let it create. If this were something that you had created before, you would probably look for the actual shipping profile that you've already used for this product before, and that is already set the way you want it. So you would choose that one. Like, for example, I made the mistake of allowing it to create multiple canvas shipping profiles. And I'm like, yeah, I don't use those. The only one that I use is this one here that ends in 9184. So every time I do a new canvas, I make sure that I select this shipping profile. So it uses the right profile, and they're all using the correct profile that has the correct shipping amount for not just the US, but for all the other countries if I'm selling to them. And that's where that goes. Okay. Moving down. So pricing, this is where it gets to whether you want to offer free shipping. And you can do that here. I don't, because what that does is basically going to play with your numbers, and then you have to plug in everything. If I'm doing free shipping to the US, I'm going to basically do that on the shipping profile. And I'm just going to select free shipping for the US. And everything else will have if it's sold somewhere else, it would have a shipping amount in that profile. But that's how I would handle it. If you're doing free shipping for everyone, then you would click on here, but it's saying basically the standard shipping is $17.69, which we know is different. So let me look at this for a second. I love looking at this. So retail price is 20, economy is 4, standard is 4, 2, free shipping enabled. We deduct 4 from your profit to cover the economy costs. You add $4 to your retail, so to include the shipping costs. Retail is 24, economy is free, standard is 84. Now, if they choose standard, they would end up paying the extra 84 cents if that's an option that's available. And the only problem with this is that I'm not sure how this works out when it comes to globally, because obviously shipping in the US and shipping somewhere into another country is going to be a difference in shipping cost. And if you are incorporating, let's say in this example, $17.69 as shipping for US shipping, but to, let's say, Hong Kong or somewhere else, it's about, let's say it's $25 or $30, depending on what it is, then that means that you are now paying for that amount. You are covering that amount. They're not. So now you've just eaten into your profits. So I really like to only do free shipping in the US, depending on the product. And therefore, anywhere else, they have to pay shipping. It's easier for me. And also, I have been bitten by that when I shipped something that was free shipping, and I did notice that it was also free shipping to the UK, and I ended up paying $24, and my something that I normally would make a good profit on, I lost a great deal of money on that. And I was barely made even on it. And I was very disappointed. But I learned. So that's something to think about. Anyways, down here is actually where you put in your retail price if you decide what you're going to price it at. They are giving you a suggested price. I wouldn't necessarily say this is the one you go with, but they're telling you if you do it at $59.25, your profit would be $23.70. And that's kind of where they're saying you should be at. We already know are they... You're still charging shipping in this example. They're doing $59.25, and then they are charging $17.69 for shipping, which, by the way, Etsy has a way of, if your shipping is more than $6, you kind of don't get pushed up in the ranking. Yeah. So you want to keep your shipping at like $5.99 or below. You need to figure that out. We'll do a whole video on that later, but that's something to keep in mind. Anyway, so that's where you set this up if you want to. Also keep in mind that this stuff you can actually edit on Etsy as well once it's in there. All right. And then they give you the publishing settings. So this is where you publish your settings. You can hide it in the store because you're not ready. You're going to tweak it when it's there. Or not. You could leave this one on. This one says only show stock variants and hide any out of stock variants. So that means if you happen to be listing, let's say, t-shirts, and you're out of extra large or out of black for some reason, the manufacturer doesn't offer them right now, it will not list those items for them. So there won't be any issues of they ordered it and it's not available. It would just not list them. So that's good. Make sure all of these are checked off at the bottom. This is what syncs in. And then when you hit publish, it will publish everything. Now, I'll point out one other thing just for funsies. This on the top here is your mock-up images, and obviously these are very crappy mock-up images. So if you wanted to add your own, you could do that here, or you could do that on Etsy once it's published. But if you did it here, it's as easy as going to upload and dragging your mock-up images right to this here. And you can replace or add to them. It's up to you. And once you do that, then they would all appear here, and you can set which one you want as primary. But you really will go into the Etsy listing once it's published and really rearrange what your listing will look like and which images are going to be first and in what order. So that's kind of how that works. So I am going to go back to products, and I'm going to make sure that I get rid of this product because it's not something that I'm using. Delete. Perfect. If you are publishing it, it is taking the SKU number, it is taking the images, it is taking all the information, and it's making a listing in Etsy. As you notice, like for example, yesterday we listed these during stream, and I published them directly through here. So when I went to, where's my Etsy? Hold on. Did I close it? I think I closed it. So if I go to my Etsy, and I'm going to go to listings. Okay. So if I go to my Etsy shop, here are those. See how I had these here? These are the ones we listed. Well, they're right here, and now they're listed in Etsy. And when they're listed here, I don't have to do any more stuff on Printify for it. I can do everything changed here. Now, keep in mind that anything that you change in this listing is not going to reflect in the Printify listing. It doesn't matter because all we care about is that this is what people are going to see. So we want to make sure that this looks good. And the only thing that we need to make sure doesn't change is when you go down here to SKU numbers. These are the Printify SKU numbers. So when this order goes through and it knows that it's made by a production partner called Printify, it's going to know which item was ordered. It's going to know which product in your Printify it's going to send to production to be made. And that's important. As far as the price here, this price is only reflected for Etsy. It's not going to look at the price. Printify is not going to look at the price that you set it at there to figure out costs and whatnot. All they care about is the fact that, oh, you sold this 16 by 20 canvas. Okay, that SKU number, perfect. How much is the cost on our Printify? Oh, this is the cost and the shipping. That's what we're charging you. That's it. That's all they care about. So they don't care about how much did you sell it for. No, they don't care about that. Okay. They only care about what does the item cost that we're going to charge you. And you're going to pay that on your credit card. And then when this is done, it says here, estimated earnings. Let's say for the 16 by 20 is $69. Their same estimated earnings is $61.99. That is only the Etsy part. In other words, it's taking the transaction. Here it is. But I know this item is costing me more. It's actually costing me something. So it's not like all of this is coming to me. So I have to put in whatever it is here. I can't remember what it is, so I'm not going to do it. But whatever it is going to be deducted as well in the cost when I buy it on Printify. And then I will see my estimated earnings. I'll give you a better example. Give me 1 second. I'm going to bring it up on the other screen here. Oh, by the way, the other thing I was going to show you real quick is down here. See, here's your tags. So you can actually go in and change your tags. Like we said, the keywords. There's your shipping profile. So if you want to make any edits to your profile for shipping, that's where you do it right here. Then at the bottom, you have this is something you don't see on the Printify side, but in Etsy, you'll see it in the listing. It says return and exchanges. Now, if you're making a print on demand item, there is no returns or exchanges because it's made to order. Once the person orders it and it goes into production, you basically paid for it. You paid the cost of that product being made, and that product is being made. You're not going to get your money back from the freaking manufacturer saying, hey, by the way, they decided to not get it anymore, so I don't need it. No, they already started making it. They started making it. You paid for it. You're going to eat the cost. So there's no returns or exchanges. But at the same time, even though that's the policy, it also says buyer can contact seller about any issues with an order. If an order is damaged, if an order goes missing, something, or they get the wrong item, those are things that you do replace. And that's like, for example, if it is damaged or if it is not printed properly, like there's something wrong with the printing or they printed the wrong one, you contact through Printify, you go to Printify and you go to the order and you say, problem with this order, and you say exactly what happened, and you request a reprint, or in this case, if they wanted a refund, maybe you said refund, but most of the time it's a reprint because it's hard to give a refund because the people will be like, no, we'll fix it. So you request a reprint at no cost, at no charge to you. And as long as it's not your fault, it'll be covered. Now, if you messed up on your design and you put the wrong design into that product listing, or your design is not 300 DPI, or it's just fuzzy, or it has an error or whatever, that's on you. So they're not going to reprint it for free. They'll say, well, the artwork is wrong. We worked on the artwork you gave us, so therefore it's on you. So then you would have to pay the cost to replace it. See how that works? So you got to keep that in mind. Make sure everything's good before you go forward. But again, client can't get it and be like, you know what? I don't like it. I want to return it. I'm sorry. All sales are final. But it's up to you what you decide. If you want to say, hey, listen, I understand. Unfortunately, my policy is, it's made to order. So once it's done, I can't take it back. But you are, if you'd like, I really want to make you happy. How about I give you a discount code for your next purchase, and if you give us another try, something along that lines. Or if you want to do a partial refund to them, say, hey, listen, I'll refund you if they paid shipping costs or something. So I'll refund you the shipping cost, or I'll refund you 10% or whatever. Or maybe you charge a restocking fee. It's a 15% restocking fee. You need to return the item. You tell them, you make sure they return it to you. Once they return it, they'll receive whatever refund. It's up to you what you decide. But the bottom line is this. You want to make your customers happy, but at the same time, you don't want to start paying for things out of your pocket and then not making any money on it. So you have to be a little bit strong when it comes to this and be like, no returns, no exchanges, unless something's absolutely wrong with it. And then I'll stand behind my product. Absolutely. But you can't just be like, I changed my mind. I don't really like it now that I see it. Well, you know what? You saw the mock-ups, and if the mock-ups look like it, then there should be no question. You shouldn't have bought it. But I understand that sounds like a very mean thing to say, but it's the truth. You're in business to make money. You're not in business to run a charity. So that's where you're going to have to put a thick skin when it comes to that. So that's that. The other thing that I noticed I didn't do on this one is you might have sections. You want to put your items in your shop sections. Like in my case, this was a canvas wall art. I did not do that. So now I'm doing it. And if you want to feature it at the very top of your shop, then you would select this as a feature item. I think you can only have up to 4 features up there. And that's where that goes. And then you can also select whether you want it to automatically renew at the end of the expiration, which I believe is 4 months. Like this expires on June 6th. We just put it up yesterday. February, March, April, May, June. Yeah, that's 4 months. February, then March, then April, then no, it's 3 months. Because February to March, 1, March to April is 1, that's 2, that's 3. Yeah, it's 3 months. I always thought it was 4 months. It's basically 3 months. So at the end of that, you can automatically renew it, or you can decide a manual when it expires if you want to do that. So that's it. Then you do publish changes if you do any changes, which I just did. Now we want to see it on Etsy just to see what this one looks like. I'm going to go to view on Etsy. And here's the item right there. And you notice that this one has multiple accommodate. Ooh, this needs to be reordered. Give me 1 second. So I just noticed there's something wrong. So here's what I said about the order of the images. So this is right. This is correct. But these, I like to separate these. So what I like to do is I put in, I believe it's this one. So I put that one in that order. Then there's that one. Then I put this one. And then I put this one. And that one's last. So what I like to do is I kind of like to separate between the mockups that I make and the mockups that Printify offers. I'm publish that. And now I'm going to reset this. So now they'll be in the correct order. So if I click on this, I can go through and I can see the different mockups. Now I make my own mockups, but then I also use some of the ones that Printify offers me. And by the way, this first one is AI. So obviously this one, I go ahead and give it the canvas or the image and I say, hey, can you make me a mockup for this? And it goes ahead and does that. So then you go, so you have those. And I like to separate them. Just kind of give them a, now there's one thing that I do that you don't have to do. Some people don't do this, but I like to, is I use a watermark for all my mockups. So if I make a mockup, I put my watermark on it. And I also, on an image, and you won't be able to see this, maybe you will. You'll notice on her legs, it says Nordwolf. So the reason I do that is if somebody does decide they want to just copy my image and print it out themselves, they can try. It's going to be a 72 DPI, which is pretty crappy for a print, especially if you're going to blow it up. And there are ways of upscaling it. So yes, there are ways that they can use software to upscale it so it looks, 300 DPI. But the one thing that they're going to have trouble with is the fact that it says Nordwolf on her legs and on different parts of her body because there's like a little watermark on there. And it's going to be difficult for them to take off all of that. So that there are some AI tools that might do it. You don't really have to worry about this too much, but I personally just feel more comfortable doing that. I do it to all the ones I do. The ones I don't do it to are the ones that are offered by Printify themselves, because I mean if you look at the quality of them, they're faded out. They're a lot smaller. You know, if somebody really wants to steal your stuff, they're going to do it. So don't worry too much about that, but that's what it is. Here's my options that we did. There's the heading. Here's the details, information about the actual item. Everything's there. There's that policy thing that you had to keep. And there's how long, if you order today, you'll get it by February 12th or 18th. What's today's? That's not bad. There says free shipping. Where's shipping from? And obviously underneath it, you'll have any reviews on the actual item, or you'll have other reviews from the shop in general. And then also says more from the shop, and it'll show you other items. So that's pretty cool. And that's it. I mean, that's pretty much the process. And yesterday, by the way, if you're interested in seeing how do you create mockups, what's the best way of doing it, if you watch yesterday's stream, and I'm actually going to do it again today because I'm working on some stuff, you'll see basically my entire walkthrough, how I do it. I mean, yesterday's stream and the one before, I think, both show it. Where am I at? Okay. And that's how it goes. And my buddy did not show up this morning, and he's the reason why I was going to do this, but he's not here. So it is what it is. I went through it, and I was going to show him some videos, give him some pointers, tell him to watch these videos, but he is probably still sleeping. 12 o'clock. It's 9 a.m. in California time. He should be awake by now. But he's not. Excuse me a second. I just got to check this message. Okay. Okay, I am going to let me send this to my wife. Sorry, give me 1 second. Okay. Sorry about that. Oh, good morning. Here's one of our West Coast friends. He's just probably rolled out of bed. What's going on, brother? I just went through I was doing a Q&A on Etsy and Printify because last night I was talking to Fat Cat, and he's so like unmotivated, man. He's got such good product, but he's unmotivated. He's like, no, man, my stuff sucks, or my stuff won't sell. No one. I'm an unknown. Nobody would ever want to buy from me. I'm like, bro, just do an Etsy shop. Just get your stuff up there. You know, do some prints, do some small art. Why don't you just do some small canvases, not big paintings, and put them up? You never know. It's going to cost you nothing. And so he's like, he has no faith or belief in it. So I said that I would I was trying to like I was writing this in a stream last night, so I'm like, stop by the stream tomorrow. I'll do I'll go over everything that has to do with Etsy and Printify and how they kind of work, just to give him kind of an overview. So he didn't show up, obviously. He said he would wake up early, but did not. And I just went through it. I just gave examples. So now I just gotta get back to work. Do I have to change? I'm not gonna change the thing. I'm just gonna leave it on this. I've got 2 good videos too that he can watch, and I was gonna watch them also, but we can pick at them as far as like, yeah, this is correct or this is not correct or they forgot to emphasize this. Yeah, it's sad because like he has so much talent, but he's doesn't really believe in himself, and I think that's like a tough thing for a lot of people. Like there's people that have like a lot of talent, but they don't. No one's ever like believed in them or supported them or encouraged them, so they sit on that, and that kind of sucks. It's like my dad is probably a good example of that, but then again, my dad just decided to like just not do it. My dad was really great at illustration and painting. I mean, he did some amazing pencil work, but he never took it like seriously. Like he never believed it was a talent that he could do. My dad was also an opera singer. He actually studied voice classes, sang opera, sang all different languages. Well, not all. I think there was like 3 of them, and that's what he did as a young person, as a young adult. But then he gave it all up. He didn't do it. But when it comes to the art part, I was like, why didn't he ever do anything with that? He also was really good at woodworking, like carpenting. Like he made some wood stuff, like even a bow. He made his own handle for his guns, and then he also made a bow which I used to have, but now he took it back, I think. And so he was really good at all that stuff, but never did anything with it. And it's almost like I guess no one really encouraged him, and that kind of sucks. Then I remember he got into photography and he wanted to do photography and he got all this stuff and he just never did it. So I found myself in a very similar kind of mode a few years back, where there was a lot of things that I enjoyed and that I could do, and I did well, but I just I didn't do anything with them. I never thought this is important. This can make me a living, or this is what I should invest into. And that kind of sucks. And I remember doing that. So now that's why I'm like, you know what? Just put stuff out there. I have an eye for certain things. I can put certain things together. I did photography for a while, but the only thing with photography is I like photography for creativity. I don't like photography for like a wedding, things like that. Being a wedding photographer or an event photographer, not interested. No. I will do a session. I will do an arts, like a creative art one, or a what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, just more creative art, I guess. But I will not do like, hey, I need someone to cover this wedding and take pictures. I actually had a friend recently ask me that they needed help and if I would come along, and it was like in some kind of event, and I'm like, yeah, no. I can't. I had another friend recently asked me to help them do some video recording for something that they wanted to do themselves, but unfortunately I was sick, so I couldn't do that. But yeah, I'm not interested in that type of photography. So I like creative stuff. But I think if you're good at something, and even if it's a hobby, and you can possibly, and if it costs you very little or nothing to actually promote that stuff or push that stuff out there, take a chance, man. What's the worst that's going to happen if you put stuff out for sale? It doesn't sell? So you lost 20 cents? You lost a little time putting it together? My wedding photographer was really good. We had 3 photo shoot locations before the wedding. It was a crazy day. Yeah, we my wedding photography was also good. He was a crazy man. And they did a good job. I mean, we still have our video, obviously, and great photographs. But I would not want to be a wedding photographer. Hell no. I remember when I was a kid, how old was I? Man, I got to think what age. Couldn't be 15. I don't remember how old I was, but I know when I was a kid, I would go to work with my dad on a weekend job that he had. And he worked for a guy that he knew that would take pictures of kids in sports. In other words, he had, I guess, the contract with the photo contract with the little leagues, like all the football or softball or whatever, baseball leagues that they were in the different towns around South Florida. And then I don't think there were school ones. Maybe there were, but it was only sports related. So he would go and take pictures of the teams, individually, and then a team shot. And so he had like a trailer that he had set up in the back that was a photo booth. And you would just open it up and everything would be inside, like where the kids would stand. It had backdrops and all the lighting was there. And so the photographer would basically just have to, grab the camera that's dangling, get the kid to stand in the proper place, smile, boom, shoot pictures, next kid, and shoot, next kid. And then you would do that. And so there had to be someone that would set the kid up and would say, like, hold the bat like this. Okay, now look right here. And this is what I want you to, okay, give me the best smile. What's going on? What is that? And you would kind of like try to like hype them up to get them to loosen up, because a lot of these kids were like, like you would say, pose for a picture, and they're like, and just like, what? I can't see your face. So you would have to like hype them up. And so that was me. So I would go with my dad and I would set the kids up and I'd be like, all right, let me see what you got. Let me see those muscles. And I would try to hype them up to get them to smile or to laugh. I'd look at the camera. All right, do that same thing. Look at me over here. Where I'm right here. And so then my dad would take the pictures. So I was really good at that. I was good at hyping them up. And then for a little while, I got to do the pictures myself too, which was really cool because I learned like the different settings. It wasn't like point and shoot like it is nowadays. You literally had to know what setting to put things on. So it was very manual. Your photographer had a whole team. I would hate to do a job like that solo. Yeah, I don't know. I would hate to do that job, period. Sorry. Not my thing. And the reason why is because I've heard some nightmares on some guys that they get hired to do a photo shoot for a wedding, let's say. And pretty much these days, digital, you're fine because you're going to see exactly what you're getting. And as long as you lose the flash card or the memory card, whatever you want to call it these days, you're okay. But in the old days, when it was film, and by the way, for you kids that are watching that don't know that before digital, we literally had rolls of film that had to be developed. So you didn't know what the picture looked like until you sent it to get developed. Yeah. So if you were a photographer back then for a wedding and you were doing, you were shooting the pictures, you would have no idea of what the images would look like if you had it on the right setting, if maybe the lighting was too dark. So you have to like measure lighting and then set the settings. You need to know what you're doing and make sure that the capture speed of the image was good, so you don't get them like all blurry. So all of these things came into factor because they're not able to see what the image looks like. So you better know what you're doing. And I knew of a situation where if the photographer did a horrible job, and that's a one-time event. It's not like, oh, let's do the wedding again. And sure enough, that family ended up with no wedding pictures. That's screwed up. Dealing with Bridezilla, exactly. No, thanks. No, and that was crazy. And all you can do then is say, all right, maybe let's do a photo shoot. let's I'll take the cost and rent the dress again and the tuxedo. But can you imagine that? So that was back in the day, because then when you developed the images and you saw that they were crap, you're screwed. It's not like you can Photoshop that stuff back then. So now at least it's a little bit easier, because you don't have to worry about I need Photoshop open, by the way. You don't have to worry about not seeing what the image is going to look like. Like, you can take the picture, you look at it, you're like, okay, that's good. Or like, oof, that your eyes are closed. Let's do it again. So you can literally edit on the spot. You know what I mean? Like, redo it. But still, that's a lot of stressful. Dealing with a bride. Oh my gosh, everything has to be perfect. I would probably do a photo shoot under a controlled setting. Like, I did those for a while. Like, I would do that for people that I knew that needed some photos, some headshots, some graduation picture, something like that. Though I've done those before. I had a friend that wanted she passed away, so may she rest in peace, but when she met her second significant other, she wanted a photo shoot of them, and it was in a field, like a wheat field almost. And she brought a chair out, and it was like, and the sun was coming down, so it was a nice shot. Actually, I might have the picture somewhere. So it was a nice creative idea that she wanted to do, just to commemorate her new relationship. So I remember that. They were happy. So I've done those, but I would like shooting in more controlled environments, and I think that has to do with my personality. But anyways, we were talking about all this, but going back to the reason why I even brought this up, and I am going to be working. I'm going to look for my files while I speak here. But one of the things that I was saying is that it's very sad when somebody has a lot of talent but has never been encouraged. And when it comes to something creative like painting or digital art or photography or things like that, where they have really a good eye and they have talent, or even like stuff that they build, like sculptures or whatever, but they've never been encouraged to promote their stuff, to sell their stuff, to put their stuff out there, because they feel like, one, they might have the mentality of, anybody can do this. It's not rocket science. And so they devalue themselves. Or they immediately think, yeah, people say it's nice, but nobody would ever buy it. And they've basically have just, I don't know. It's just a negative thinking. No one's going to buy my stuff. Nobody knows me. Do you know how many pieces of art are purchased in a day, probably, or just in a whatever time period you want, of unknown artists? More so than regular artists that are known. I have to say that. It's true. You just have to put it out there. I don't know. Nobody would ever buy my stuff. I thought the same thing at first. I'm like, I don't care. I've sold stuff. I mean, I'm not making millions or anything. I'm just starting out. But when I saw the increase, what's the increase? What is the difference here? Let me see. Every artist was unknown at some point. Milspec, you're so perfect on that. But yeah, it's like, it doesn't matter. Just put it out there. Somebody's gonna like it. And guess what? And if they don't like it, that's okay too. Do something else. Put another piece up. Maybe they'll like that one. Because not everybody's gonna like everything. It's funny because I've shown some of my stuff to my wife, like before I listed like a blanket or whatever. And I'm like, I was thinking I'm going to put this up. There's a, whatever. And I kind of try to explain it. And she's like, I don't like it. I'm like, okay, well, you don't like it, but somebody out there might like it just because you don't like it. So that's where you have to be okay with people. Not everybody's going to like your stuff. I think that's important. I think that's the first thing to understand for any shop that you're making. Whatever it is that you're selling, you got to understand that you're not going to be everybody's favorite flavor. Okay. That's 100. Listen, Here's the other thing. I'm going to tell you this now in case you don't know this in relationships. If you're single and you're out there, not everybody's going to like you, okay? It's not like every single person you meet is going to want to be like, I want to date you, or you're the one I want to marry. No, that's not the way life works. So yes, in products, it's the same thing. Not everyone's going to like you or your stuff, period. Did I say good morning? I did say good morning, right, Milspec? Good. I'm still pretty unknown, but I sell art in one form or another every day. Exactly. And that's kind of the same. That's the way you got to look at it. And I mean, who really is known? Because there are artists that are supposedly known, but you've never heard of them. So they may be known in some circles, but that doesn't mean that they're known. They're like a household name. Like if we think household names and we think of artists, obviously there are some greats that we've known throughout history. And why do we know about them? Because we learn about them through history. That's different. Those are like established masters that are in history books. Like, you know, we think of like Picasso, we think of Monet, we think of Andy Warhol, we think of Pollock. We think of, which I don't think is art, but whatever, everyone their own. Let's see. We think of Leonardo da Vinci. We think of Michelangelo. We think of Vermeer. I'm drawing a blank now. What's the guy that did the Scream? I don't remember, but is it months? I can't remember that one. But anyways, but there's a lot of Salvador Dali's another one that people talk about. But these are people that we have heard of for years growing up. If you had any interest in art, you would know these. Thomas Kincaid, you know, that's another one. Everybody knows who Thomas Kincaid is. But that's different. But when it comes to like being known in certain circles or in your area is different. Like I'm sure Brink is known in certain circles as far as his art is concerned. I'm sure Fat Cat is known in certain circles for his art. But doesn't mean that, sure, we're always going to be an unknown somewhere. And that's okay. But if you sit in your living room and you hoard everything that you make and you never show anyone, well, guess what? You'll never be known. So get it out there. All right. I'm trying to find this stuff. The art world is weird. Yes, it is. And art changes, man. It's like, what's acceptable as art in one category is not acceptable in another one, you know, and everyone likes different art. Everyone thinks art is different things. We can sit here and argue of what is art and what is not art. And, you know, we'll have different views on it. The guy, you know, taking a banana and taping it to a freaking canvas and writing something underneath it and selling it for millions of dollars. That's art for some reason. Do I think so? No, but it is. And he was a comedian that did it. So yeah, look that up. You'll find it. The banana artwork. It literally is a banana, a real banana. I don't know. Look at, okay, Thomas Kincaid, for example, great example. So I have one of his, I don't know if it's a I don't know what it is. It's on a canvas, it's painting, it's numbered, it's signed, it's something. It's not an original, so don't get me wrong. But it's like, so I paid an X number amount for it. It's big. It's at the end of the hallway. It's a big painting. If I were to sell that thing, the resale value is like a fraction of what I paid for it. Isn't it crazy? And it's ridiculous. But that's the other thing, you know, something is valued more in some scenarios or some instances than it is in others. Now, does that mean I'm going to go and sell it? No, I'm not. I don't want to sell it because I'm like, I'll get peanuts for it. And I'm like, for me, I value it more than that. Art is weird. All right. Let's see. By the way, I think this is going, this is still streaming on both YouTube and Twitch right now because OBS had a new update recently that actually allows you to multi-stream straight from from their OBS, so I don't have to like switch back and forth, and I don't have to do another computer. So we're trying it out and see what happens. And I can see that it's running on YouTube really well. It's funny because I've never done a coffee chat or a work and coffee on YouTube, so this is completely different than playing a game. And people are like, "How come he's not gaming?" Because my YouTube is really known for like game excerpts or like freaking gameplay or talking about a game or whatever. So there you go. People are gonna be there like, "Wait, Lord's on, but he's not talking about games and he's not gaming." Sorry. It's funny to me how much networking and schmoozing helped in my art career. Had to hustle like anyone else, like everyone else or like anyone else. A lot of people think they'll just get discovered. Yeah, that rarely happens. It's like any other job. It's true. You have to. But here's the thing though. I think like when I was talking to Fat Cat last night, he kept saying that he's not good at selling. He's not a good talker. He doesn't know how to sell himself. He's not very good at that. He doesn't like to do that, so he doesn't do that. And I don't think it's about selling. You don't need to sell yourself, but you do need to network. And that does mean talking to people. And that does mean like just, kind of not. So for example, I just want to sidestep for a second. For example, let's say you have a personal Instagram account and your friends and your family are on there and you have, a following of your friends and family. And I struggle with this part. So this is why I'm mentioning this is a great example. You don't want to make everything that you post, and I'm talking about posting as opposed to speaking, just we're going to reference both of them. So you don't want to make everything that you post on your personal social media, that's the friends and family, about your business or about what you're selling. Because after a while, people are like, every time I see this guy, all he does is talk about his work and what he's selling and trying to sell me something. And so you don't want to do that. But you definitely want to share your interests and share maybe what you're working on in a conversation. There's nothing wrong with that. And so that's where you have to, even when, like, for example, if I went to a get together and I'm talking to people, I'm meeting new people, and all I'm doing is saying like, yeah, you should check out my stuff. I've got the stuff listed. I've got a couple of paintings. They're really good. You'll really like them. Do you like art? Oh, this is really cool. You'll like this. It's from whatever. And I start like, all I'm doing is like selling my stuff. Go check my stuff out. Yeah, like it, subscribe. Then that's kind of like pushy. You don't want to do that. But if you're able to like build a rapport with someone, you're having conversations, you're laughing about stuff. They ask you, so what do you do? And they'll say, I and if you're an artist, and it's like, I paint and I work in digital art or whatever, and you just bring it up like, really, what kind of work do you do? And then you can bring it up. Now it's like it's opened the door. It's like, oh, you can ask them once that opens up, like, what kind of art do you like? And do you like art? Do you buy art? And then just start a conversation. That's now someone knows that you do it. So if they're having a conversation with someone else, they're like, hey, do you know Brink over there? Like, yeah, I know him. Did you know that he paints? He's like really great stuff. And then that's where the networking starts. But you don't have to do a hard sell every time you talk to somebody. Like I was told by multiple galleries I had to get published before they'd consider me. So I went and got published. Good job. And what's funny now is nowadays you can even publish yourself and you can do things like, I think you even told me, by the way, here's what's funny. Do you remember when I first started using Midjourney? I'm going to look at this magazine. Hold on. I can't remember. It was like two or 3 years ago, whenever it was. And do you remember you told me about Amazon, the Kindle part of it, the Kindle publishing, where you can actually make a book and all that. So I had registered for that. And back then I did a comparison between, man, where is that? I wonder if I can find it. Give me 1 second. Anyways, I did a comparison between two versions of Midjourney early on. This is like 5 and 6 or 5.2 and I can't remember. But anyways, so all I did was grab a couple of images of both versions of Midjourney, the results, and I put some, like the prompt of the wording on it, and I put that together in a digital book, like a magazine almost, and I listed it. I published it through Amazon, and I think it sold like 3 of them. Amazon KDP, thank you very much. And I think like 3 of them sold or something, and I got like peanuts for it. But even just recently, this was like 2 or 3 years ago, and it's still there somewhere. It's never been updated. It's from, like I said, it's the versions from like 5. We're in version 7 right now, I think. And so this was way back years ago. And I mean, it's so funny to think about that. Even now, I could decide on doing I don't want to say greatest hits because they'll be art pieces, but like my journey through Midjourney, the journey through Midjourney, and then kind of show early things and up to now. And I could do a magazine or book like that and put it up there, and it would be published. It would get me out there, and maybe I'd be like, "Hey, you want a good coffee?" And that's something I would bring up to somebody. Like I'd be like, what do you think about coffee books, like books, coffee table books? And they'll be like, yeah, I like them. I'm always looking for something cool. I'm like, I have one that I think you might like. And then I would push it to someone that way. I'm like, check it out. If you like it, get it. And so then they would have my published book. But you can do that through Amazon KDP. Where the hell is that? I wonder if I have it. It's so lame, first of all. Let me tell you. Midjourney compare. It's so like it's so lame-o, man. It's like, oh man. Give me 1 second. I think here it is. January 29th. I just got a payment for it. I'm trying to find what it's called though, so I can look it up. I just got a payment January 29th for something that I've had there forever. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on a second. Shoot. I should have it somewhere. I got three payments. I got 3 payment notifications for my KDP. That's hilarious. And unfortunately, it's in the Japanese site. I mean, it could be a scam also. Who knows? Let me see if I can find. Give me 1 second. I'm just trying to look for this. I gotta send this to myself. Okay. Sorry, I needed to get the text message in order to log in. Oh, so this is not the one. Sign out. Okay, sign in. Send it to my email. I logged into the wrong account. Personal account versus business account. Okay, there it is. Do, 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 do. How can I see it? There it is. View on Amazon. Okay. US. All right, here it is. So look, this is this is hilarious. So this is what I made. Way back then. When was this done? I don't even remember. Yes, submitted on April 25th, 2023. So I had created this thing. It's Midjourney version comparison. Image journal. My idea of doing this, by the way, was I was going to do a series of these. And this was just, I wanted to see how easy it was to create this. And I ended up making this and I never did it again. So it says here, Midjourney version comparison, image journal, mystical women. And here it was version 5, version 4, including detailed prompts and parameters. And so I gave a couple of examples, very simple. In fact, I might actually have this book so we can see it. But let's see, read example. It doesn't, I don't think it's showing you. Yeah, it doesn't show you anything. So, so you're screwed. But I'm going to show you what this looks like. I have it. So here, let me show you Shop Center, Amazon KDP, book example. Is that, no, coloring book trial. Wait, is that it? Midjourney comparisons. Yeah, this is it. Okay, so let me. So I'm gonna show you a preview. By the way, it was $2.99. Okay. How much? Wait, and it's free for Kindle, I think. Oh no, it's $2.99. Anyways, this is it right here. So watch. So basically, I was doing. Can I do a side by side? Where's the view? I want to change the view. All right, whatever. I can't do the view right now. Anyways, so it would give like this example. Can I go? I'll go to the big screen so you can see this better. Desktop 2. Okay. So it gives you this example. It says that was a cover, by the way. And it says down here. By the way, again, this was 2023, man, in April. So it was a vampire, hyper-realistic image. Nord loves AI. Film at 11. I know, right? Image of beautiful woman as a vampire. Trance-like gaze, sinister smirk, pale complexion, dark attire, blood red lips, blah, 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 whatever. And it had like the whole prompts, right? And this was version 5. And then I did version 4. Okay, so this was 5. And then this was 4. And so they were very different. It was the same prompt, but just a different version. And so I was comparing the differences. Now, if I were to do this now, and I think we're gonna do it. We're gonna try it out. I'm gonna grab this. Oh, I can't do it that way. Yeah, I can do it this way. So I'm gonna grab this. I'm just gonna run the same prompt. But anyhow, that was it. So then I went to the next one. Here's another one. This is version 5. And then this was version 4. Now, what we were looking at back then, which is more obvious now, is kind of the way the face was done, what mistakes you would find, things along that line, the coloring, composition. But this is the exact same prompt. Here's another one. That was 5. And this was 4. Also, just the style of it was completely different. I mean, obviously things have changed now. Here's 5. Here's 4. this was more cartoony versus this was more realistic back then. There's 5. There's 4. Again, more cartoony, more realistic. So 5 was definitely more realistic back then. But that's basically what the book was. And so my idea was that I was going to make this and do a different theme every month. But obviously I didn't do that because I was just like, no one's going to buy these. But I think I may have had three people that ended up downloading it. Let's see if I get a report. Can I look at month to month? Sorry, I'm just going back a couple of years. Okay. Oh, lifetime. I can do that. So 60 pages read 60. I don't know what that means, but okay. And the last time it was read was like May 2024. That's so weird. Orders. Can I do orders in lifetime? Lifetime. Yeah. It's weird. So there's a different way of selling. Anyways, so that was interesting. That was something worth checking out. I think I want to make more. I'm going to make a magazine. I mean, I have the layout ready. Explore, create. Let's do create. Trash that. Take away version. Let me go to my multi-screen. Nord loves AI. Film at 11. Do I love AI? I don't love anything. I love my wife. That's it. And my kids. Sorry. My kids and my wife. So I just want to see. And AI. Shut up. And ChatGPT. Man. Well, did you know that there's a company that's making an AI woman? Like not what you're thinking, not for that, but it's a companion, but it's an AI. It's got AI built into it. I forgot what was it called. I gotta find it. It's not. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it is for that purpose. I have no idea. But I know that I saw a video on one of the conventions or something, and it was talking about it that they've actually implanted AI, a brain, an AI brain, whatever. It has to be connected to Wi-Fi, obviously, for it to work. But it is like basically having ChatGPT, but in a form, in a body form. That is so weird. It's absolutely weird. Okay, I just ran this prompt. And by the way, Midjourney is really slow today. I gotta find it, but I'm afraid of what site that would actually be. Okay, is it done? Okay, it's done. So, oh, it's 80% done. No, it's not done yet. 84. Why is Midjourney so slow today? Brig, did you see? I was testing something out yesterday as far as I was like, I was always looking for a reason to keep Leonardo AI. I think I may have found a reason. It's called blueprints. I have to show it to you. I was doing it yesterday towards the end of the stream, but I think you were going to work already. Okay, so these are, let's compare these. Try to make this screen smaller so I can get there. Let's go back to this one. So this one's 5. Exact same prompt. This is 7. So we'll notice one thing that stands out to me. Oh, shoot. Sorry. I'll do it this way, because if I click on it, it's going to go away. One thing that stands out to me immediately is the realism. So on the left, back then, version 5 looked really real. Like it was kind of like, wow, this looks so much better than that one, you know. So I was thought, but then when you realize, look at 7. 7 is on the right hand side. It's this one here. That is crazy. Can I close that, by the way? Thank you. That is insane. That's more realistic. Now, even though this is realistic, that right there is kind of scary. Let's look at the 4th, because it makes 4 of them. So let's look at the next one. Look at that. Crazy. Look, depth of field. It looks so, it looks like a photograph. It literally is a photograph. Now, the prompt does contain photograph information, contrast, lighting, shadows, things like that. But the quality has changed. I mean, we've come a long way since version 5 to version 7. I mean, that looks like I went out and took that picture. And if we look at the fingers, they're all correct. You look at the face, it's all correct. Everything about it is correct. It looks like I went and did a photo shoot of someone. It looks like I took a picture of this dead looking person, vampire. That is amazing. Anyways, so that was the reason. So I think one of the things that I can work on now is showing the comparison going from version 4 to version 7. There is a big difference. Anyhow, I thought that was cool. I just wanted to share that with you. Okay, so that was that. Anyways, what time is it? 12:46. How long have I been on? 2 hours. Okay, not that long. Supposed to work on stuff now, but I'm all over the place today. Well, Fat Cat didn't show up. I was expecting him to come by so I can talk to him about this Etsy and Printify stuff, but he is not around. Well, I don't know if I'm not gonna work on these right now. I need to do the florals. Oh, do you want to see the reason why? I was talking about this yesterday, but do you want to see what makes Leonardo great now? Or at least something that I have not seen? So they have this thing called blueprints. Now, blueprints, if you look at it, if you give it a quick overview, you're like, it's stupid. It's just putting your face on like this image style and that's it. That's true. But I don't look at those. I look at the product stuff. Now, for example, showcase your product floating in a serene dreamscape. Okay, we don't have a can, but there was one that I was using yesterday. And if I can find it, give me 1 second. Here it is. So this is really great. So this is product in scene. So if I take any product, I'm going to find a product. Okay, I'm going to find one of my products. Let me just go to 24. I'm going to go down to 4. I'm going to try to find something that's not a pillow because we did pillows yesterday and we did canvases as well. So I'm going to find something that's like maybe a t-shirt. Should we do a t-shirt? Let's try a t-shirt. Okay. So I'm going to grab this t-shirt. I made this for my wife for last Halloween. And I'm going to drag it and drop it on here. And let's see what it does. So I'm giving it the product. It's a t-shirt. And I'm just going to generate. It costs 120 tokens to generate. Let's do this on the big screen so you can see this, because I want to make sure you see this up close and personal. So all we have to do for this particular blueprint, that's what they're called in Leonardo AI, is just give it the image and then generate. You don't write anything. You don't tell it what to do. It's already programmed to generate a professional photograph of your product. So let's see. Generate. And now you don't have to stay. You can go. And it's going to make 3 of them. Now, because it's a template and it's because it's programmed to do it, it has a certain, I guess, specific type of templates that it uses. But it figures out what it is. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's look at the first one. Can we just acknowledge that all I did was give it a t-shirt? I gave it this. This is what I gave it. And it grabbed it and put it onto a girl sitting at a coffee shop. It's Halloween related, so it gave the mock-up a Halloween themed style around it. So if you notice, there's pumpkins. This is crazy. There's pumpkins. It's autumn it's autumn outside. You can tell it's fall weather. She's wearing the freaking shirt. I mean, what? Okay, so then look at this one. So they'll go to the next one. Now it takes it. It's throwing it on a mock-up again. The theme, it's taking the design and incorporating the design of what it is to the rest of the theme of the mock-up. I mean, if you don't see the brilliance in this and how much time this saves you, let's look at, now they're not always going to be great. Let's look at the last one. This one, I probably wouldn't use it, but hey, it serves a purpose. But that first one, the idea that it took that image, it put it, someone's wearing it. Holy crap. So let's try another one. Let me try a different one. I'm going to try something that I don't want to do an ornament because I think an ornament would be just too easy. Canvas wall art works the same way. Well, let's try an ornament. Let's see what happens. Let's try an ornament. We're going to do a border collie ornament, this one right here. So I'm going to click off of there. I'm going to go back to this area here, and I'm going to drop this image instead in. I don't know what it's going to do. It's a Christmas ornament, not necessarily a Christmas ornament, but it's an ornament of a dog. All right. So we're going to go ahead and generate. That's super useful, right? It's crazy. Now, I found this out because on yesterday's stream, I was doing mock-ups with ChatGPT for the canvases, and it was doing fine. And then at one point, it's like, hey, you are making way too many mock-ups, way too many images too quickly. You need to slow down. You can't make another one for 15 minutes. And I'm like, I'm a freaking paying customer. What do you mean? So I said, you know what? Let's go over to Leonardo and see if I can make some there. And that's what I did. All right. So these I don't like. I don't like any of these. So it doesn't work with every single product. It depends on what it is. This is a really, this works. Like I said, not all of them works. This one's okay. It looks, I would still use this one. Let me see this one. This one's too far away, I think. But it does give, again, remember what it's capturing. It understands that it is a Christmas ornament and it's making it Christmas themed. That's the beauty of this. It's taking into account the actual image itself. Not only that, it's also incorporating like the colors so that it stays like coherent, like together. I don't think coherent is what I was thinking of, but you know what I mean. Let me see if I can find a better example. I'm trying to find just a crazy product of any kind. Man, I did a lot of ornaments before. I don't have any t-shirts. Tell you what, let's do this as if we were really using it. Let me just do this. Let me go to catalog. Let's do a bestseller. Let's do a mug. Right? I can do a mug. Start design. Let me go to multi-boxing so you can see this. So I'm going to design. I'm going to make this big. Okay. So I'm going to do a red mug. We're going to add an image to it. And why not? Let's use the mother-daughter image. We're going to put it on both sides. Can I duplicate that, or do I have to actually? I don't think I can duplicate it, can I? No. So I got to drag it in again. Okay, let's grab the same one. 24. Let's grab that one. Oops, sorry. And we're going to put it over here. It doesn't matter. We're not going to really use this. This is just for testing purposes. Okay, we'll make this smaller also. So about there. Okay, and then we're going to push to the end. Okay. All right, so we're going to do that, right? So let's preview. And then we're going to grab it. We're going to grab this image. And I'm going to drop this. Let's see. Oh, I got to do copy. Can I do copy? How does this work? I have to add it here. It doesn't allow me to drag it from here, does it? Okay, so I have to save it first. Save product. I'm going to save selection. Doesn't matter because I'm just doing this for our purposes. This one. Save as draft. Okay. And mugs has always been kind of a question mark as far as how to mock that up other than just placing it on a table. So I'm gonna grab this one. Let's grab this one instead. Now I'm going to drag that over. So it's a mug. Let's see what it does. Generate. Let's go back to our big screen. So this is, yes, you have to pay for Leonardo. Leonardo does have a free one, but I think because it's 120 tokens, the free one is not going to be able to do this. But if you have access to Leonardo, this is amazing to do mockups, man. All right, let's take a look. Look at that. So it took the mug. I don't know if I necessarily like this, the mug on the ground like this, but it's trying to show it. That's why. Let's take a look at this one. So see, just placed it. That's pretty easy. Let's look at this one. Now, if I don't like it, I can run it again. That looks fake. That looks wrong. So they're not always going to be perfect. But the idea of the stuff that it does know what to do with, like t-shirts, blankets. I did blankets yesterday. It was amazing. To put it on chairs. T-shirts, blankets. What was the other thing we did? Pillows. Those kind of things that are like more common, it does really well on. This stuff, I think it's a little bit off. So let's see if we generate it again, what happens. And you can generate this as many times as you want, as long as you have the tokens. Personally, I have like 95,000 tokens right now, so I might spend the next couple of weeks just making mock-ups of everything. So not the greatest one, but again, it's just showing it to you. Here's another good example. This is the same example. I think the background's different. And then there's this one. It's a little bit better. Still fake, but it's okay. So that's how you use that tool. And I thought that was freaking amazing. Let me see if I can go. Can I go to my gallery? Your generations. Okay. This is the stuff I made yesterday. So let me show you some of these. Now, by the way, outpainting was crazy good. Also, this was all we had was a little square of her face. It made the rest of it. So that's another great thing. This one took the painting and put it into took the canvas and put it actually into a frame. We had a couple of different ones of those. We did the same thing with this one. It took that. So you don't even have to like make your own mock-ups anymore. Here's the blanket one. So obviously this blanket is off. That's not right. But here's the blanket laying on the couch. I don't like that one. There's always one that we don't like. So this is another good one right here. There's a blanket there. Here's the blanket laying over somehow, even though it looks a little weird there. Let's go to another. So blankets, it did really well. Then canvas art. I gave it the canvas. It actually put it on an easel. Pretty neat. It also put it very large, probably too big, and it put it up on a wall. Depending on what the actual image was, that was another good thing. Yeah, so I think that was mainly. Did I do any pillows? I don't think we did a pillow. Now I got to do a pillow just to try it. Give me a pillow. Okay, this pillow right here. I'll try this one. Last one. I didn't do a pillow because I had done all my pillows on ChatGPT. What's funny was because I have mock-ups that I do in Photoshop already, but when I realized that I could just drop the image in ChatGPT and let them create it for me, it was like perfect. I don't have to do this myself. And then I found this and I was like, this is even better because I don't even have to type anything. All I have to do is give it the image. So this is the example of the pillow. There it is. That's a really good example there. Let's see what this one looks like. That's not bad. We can use that. Look at this one. I mean, seriously. I just got 3 mock-ups and it took me less than a minute. Crazy. Anyhow, possibilities are endless. Anyways, I think I'm going to cut it off for today. I think we're done. We're done skis, man. Very useful for sure. Yeah, definitely. And I think any product that you have, you can drop in there. Now there are other blueprints that you can use. Like there's one for canvases that it puts it in a frame. I mean for paintings that it puts it in a frame, puts it in a room. I think those are cool too, especially when we do mock-ups or prints. I think that you can, by the way, and I'm pretty sure, I'm going to say this intelligently. If you use ChatGPT and you create a GPT that does this exact same thing for mockups, you can have something very similar to this available to yourself and define parameters such as what frames to use and not use. Like if let's say it's for a print, what backgrounds you use. You can give it examples like of these and say, hey, I want stuff like this. So it can definitely work through ChatGPT, making your own GPT just for this. But the limitation is that if you're making too many at a time, like I sometimes sit here and just make, I have whatever. How many products did we have yesterday? We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think we had like 10 pillows. And so we tried doing all the pillows, and then we had maybe a couple of blankets. And so we did that. And doing all those at one time, uh, ChatGPT was like, way too many, too fast, slow it down, and gave me a timeout. But if you're doing, like, let's say you have a product, you create the product, you're like, all right, I need to make the mockup, drop it in there to use your GPT. If you don't have Leonardo and you create this, perfect. It will do it for you. Make about 3 or 4 mockups, you're done. But if you have Leonardo AI and you're paying for it, this is another really useful thing to do. I'm pretty impressed with that. And I have not been impressed with Leonardo stuff for a while because I think they were trying to do too much. There's only one other thing I do like about Leonardo is the flow state. So the flow state, if you haven't seen this, now I have to show this to you. Shit. And I think you've seen this, but the flow state is do mock-up of a rose colored pillow. And obviously this is not your product, but you are just able to do just whatever. You can say girl at coffee shop. You can start with that. You can keep on going. So girl at coffee shop. Okay, so then young woman, about woman at coffee shop reading a book. I mean, I'm just doing stupid prompts right now, but what this allows you to do is that it will generate a bunch of different styles of that actual prompt. It could also enhance your prompt. So when you select a style you want, so let's say, for example, I'm going to start there, and I can keep scrolling down until I find the one that I want. So let's say I want, no, I don't want that one. Hold on. Let's see. Say I'm going to use something for, I don't know, magazine. Okay, so this one. There we go. So I don't know why she's reading 2 books. Can we be 1 book, please? All right, this was good. So let's say I say more like this. Now I say more like this, and it's going to start giving me more stuff like that particular one that I chose. And why? Oh, that was a weird color. So I can say more like this. Oops, sorry. More like this. And it will start giving me more of these. One thing I don't see. Improve prompt. So now it improved my prompt. And I can generate that. And this is another good way of learning how to write prompts for Leonardo. I know how to write prompts for Midjourney. Leonardo's a little bit different for me. So if you do this, you can see like, okay, that's how it enhanced it. So now I can see what it does. And so forth. But anyways, flow state is really good. The only thing with flow state is the more you scroll down, the more tokens it uses. But when you have, like I've got 94,000 banked, I think I'm okay. So I need to use them. Anyway, that's what I wanted to show you. So many cool little things you can find. And this is all encompassed around having an Etsy shop, doing Printify for print on demand. When creating products, you need mockups, you need ideas, all of this stuff. This all fits together. Now, if you are painting your own stuff and taking photos and making your own mockups, that's great too if you can do that. But for when you're doing print on demand products that you actually don't carry inventory, you're not going to buy every single product that you design because it will get costly. Now, if you have a budget for that, yeah, buy one of everything you designed and then you have it in house and you can take your own photographs. But chances are when people are starting out a business like this, they don't have those funds to put out there. Just keep that in mind. There's ways around it. All right. I'm going to wish you a great day. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon now. I'm sorry the fat cat could not make it. Maybe he'll watch this video. I don't know. I don't think he knows that VODs exist because I said to him that there were VODs. There was a VOD on the stream that I did yesterday and explained some stuff. You should take a look at it so you can understand. And he's like, well, next time you do it, whatever, let me know. I'll be there. And I told him I'll be here today, and he's not here. So it is what it is. He's doing his own thing. I don't know, but I tried. So it's a VOD. Anyways, take care of yourselves, guys. Have a great day. Thanks for hanging out with me. I know this is a little different than my regular streams. If you made it this far, I really appreciate you. If you just stopped in and saw that I wasn't playing games and you ran away, I'm sorry about that too. So, it is what it is. I'm always going to do something different. I'm never doing the same thing. And yeah, you can play games yourself. Brink, have a great day. Do you work today, Brink? I think you do. It's Friday. Yeah, you work. All right, man. I wish you well on your day of work. I hope it goes by quickly. Get some rest. So I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a great weekend if I don't see you. And I will be back on Monday. More than likely. Or Super Bowl night. We have D&D this weekend, so we'll join that. Dude, you just got on? Well, you're going to have to watch the VOD. Because it's time for me to go. You were supposed to be here early. I did this specifically for you, and you were not here. So now you're going to have to go and watch the video without me. You see? I was sleeping. You said you were going to wake up and get coffee. You lied. You're a liar. So I am going to direct you to 2 videos. You can watch this video and you'll get my conversation about it because I was filling in. Hold on. I was filling in waiting. I said, all right, he'll be here in a couple of hours. So I'll start talking through this. But I also did find some other videos for you that will help. So let me link those. And you can watch these, and this will kind of give you some info also. Hold on one second. Let me make sure I got the right one here. Okay. This guy is a good trusted source. And this one is how to start an Etsy shop in 2026, step-by-step beginner's guide. So this one actually will help you. I'm going to go ahead and drop this link there. Bookmark that link so you can watch that. Watch mine because I give you other information. I kind of realistically give you the scenario. So please, watch that one, but watch this VOD as soon as I go off, whenever you can. But then also, I'm going to give you this one. Let me make sure this is the right one. Okay. This lady is good. She's talking about Printify settings for beginners step by step and kind of what to look out for and the explanation of a couple of things. But in this VOD that I just did, this stream today, when you watch this back, I explained I walk you through, look, I'm making a product. Look, these are the different things I can set. So I kind of go through it in a sense so you can see an example of it. But in the end of this, what you just missed also is I was showing AI stuff. Now, obviously, the AI stuff you pay, the AI is for mockups. So I was looking at how to create a good mockup because that's something I didn't talk about. But part of Etsy, and this is where this guy, the first link that I just showed you, that guy goes over the stuff, is creating mockups, having good mockups. Keywords, tags, things like that. So take a look at those things. I'm going to say this, and I don't want you to take it the wrong way. And I'm going to take a few minutes before I go just to address this because I was trying to get this point to you yesterday, and I wanted to say these things to you, and I wanted you to hear it from my voice and not read it and read into it. So I'm going to say this. You take it how you want. Number one, you are a very talented artist. You need to stop being so hard on yourself and stop blaming it on how you were raised or the things that you were not told. You need to put that shit aside. Okay? I know you don't have to talk about it here. Just listen to me. I don't want you to say anything personal here. But basically, we all have had some type of an upbringing that we've struggled through that have made us a certain way. But it is up to us to decide how we want to proceed in life. So that's number one. The second thing is this, and this is where some people are not going to this. Everyone knows this because I don't hide from it. I am a Christian. I do believe in Jesus. I do believe in my God and my Lord and my Savior. And one of the things that's very important is that I don't have all of the strength that I need sometimes. And yes, I do lean on him for strength. And when I asked you that yesterday, and we kind of talked, you said you were, and we're not going to get into this whole conversation about it, so you don't have to say anything personal. But when we talked about this yesterday, and I mentioned it because I, wanted encouragement, you said, no, I'm 100% good with my faith. I just, this is different, separate. And I said to you, how that you keep these things separate. Here's the thing. When you're 100% in with your faith and you have a relationship with, and this is the part that people are going to be like, if you're not a Christian, you don't get this. If you believe in the Lord and you know he's there for you and he's always with you and he encourages you and supports you and you can lean on him and you go to him in prayer and so forth. If you believe in that, there is nothing that you to keep him out of. So your frustrations, your work, your hobbies, your good times, your bad times, all of that involves your faith. And that's where you need him mostly. So that's number two. Number three is this. Yes, you are unknown in all other circles, but in your own circle, you are known. And just because you're unknown doesn't mean you're a nobody. And just because you're unknown does not mean that you cannot create something great that someone is going to like. You can't say no one will ever buy my stuff if you never put it out there. Now, Etsy has a market of millions that are always looking. And you know what? Maybe you won't sell anything. Maybe you're like, you know what? I can make this product better. Maybe it's not what people are seeing. And another video that I'm going to do later is going to be, and I do this all the time, is research. What is selling? What are people selling? What is being bought? What do I do to tailor my stuff that people would be more interested? But making a big painting will take a long time. But if you make small paintings, 8x10s, 5x7s, 4x4s, 8x8s, whatever, make some small canvases, some series. Those things sell. People have been buying small things because they fill up walls, and especially if they're hand painted and they're unique. Now, you could also make prints of those. You don't have to literally sell just those, but if you want to sell if depending on how long they take you to make, if you can make a lot of those, then you can sell the originals. It's up to you, but you can make prints as well. But the idea is that you have to put yourself out there and you got to get started. You'll see that in the thing I show you that it really costs basically nothing to a couple of McDonald's, value meals to get started. That's it. It's probably for the amount that you spend on Starbucks, you can get started. And in some cases, absolutely nothing other than listing the 20 cents. So you'll see all that. I talk about that in the beginning of this stream. But in truth is, bro, you've got so much talent. People have told you this. Your freaking artwork is sitting right behind me up there. I believed in you when I paid X dollars for this. You didn't give that to me for free. I paid for it because I knew the value of it. So do not give up. Yeah, I need to not give up so easy. You need to not give up. You need to be consistent and you need to stick to it. You did this golf thing for a while that was your YouTube channel, and then you just gave up. You just stopped it. You're start something, and I'm going to tell this to you as a friend. Start it. Be consistent. Get through it. Don't give up on it. Just you can do it. And what else are you doing? You're not doing anything else. All right? So you got the time. Invest in yourself. And stop thinking I'm 50 whatever and I can't do it anymore. It's too late. Dude, I'm 55. I'm going to be 56 next year. I mean this year actually. All right? I'm old too, and I've got lots of stuff that I want to do and I'm still doing it. I'm still trying, but you don't just give up. You're my cheerleader. Absolutely. This is what I'm trying to tell you. You need somebody in your corner to tell you, stop being a butthead and thinking, oh, it's never going to work. You're not going to know unless you try. And guess what? Every person that has been successful in life, if you think about the number of times it didn't work out for them, and then it did. Kentucky Fried Chicken, remember? KFC, the Colonel? How many times did he get turned down trying to sell his recipe? I mean, you can look up this history. And it wasn't, and he kept going. And it wasn't until he was old that his recipe sold and he became what it became. There's so many other stories if you look at past successes that come out. Michael Dell from Dell Computers. Where did he start? His dorm in freaking college. Apple, we all know Apple's story. They started in a garage. So there's so many stories of people that like start as nothing and then become something. Jeff Bezos decided to sell books online and everyone thought that was stupid. Who the hell would ever buy a books online? And where are we with Amazon today? I'm not saying we're all going to be multimillionaires or billionaires and we're going to be making space rockets. I'm not saying that. But I definitely am saying that you don't know until you try, and you don't just give up because you get into a snag or because it's not exactly working out the way I thought. You're right. If it's not working out the way you thought, guess what? Change the recipe. What do you need to do to change? Do a little research. What is selling? Can I do that too? Things like that. I have a laser over here. Let me turn this one off. Hold on a second. I got a laser machine next to me over here, and I don't know why. Where'd my other view go? I got my laser view. I got my news view. No, something got screwed up here. There we go. Anyways, this little thing right here that you can see a little bit of, that's an engraving laser tool that I bought because I wanted to start doing new stuff. I want to doing some engraving and things like that. I don't know anything about it. I'm learning. I'm engraving on freaking stainless steel, on jewelry, whatever, on wood. And so I'm learning that because I want to try it. Is anybody going to buy my stuff on that? I don't know. I don't have no idea, but I'm still going to do it. I remember seeing that. Yeah. So, but you gotta do it. Just do it. And you got the time, just like I got the time. That's why I did it. Listen, I'm sharing this because I'm paying it forward. Brink was the one that got me into this. And he told me about it. And he told me, yeah, you can do it. You should do it. And I'm like, what was I doing back then? I was streaming all the time. I was playing games all the time. And I'm like, I've got the time to do this. I could make a little bit of money. And I did. And guess what? I told you yesterday the amount. I made a little bit to pay, one thing. Blaze basically blaming. Yeah, exactly. And now it made more last year, and so it took care of some other bills and stuff, or gave me a little vacation. But the point is that I'm sticking to it. And did it work did it work the same? Are my shops selling the same stuff that I sold when I started and didn't work? No, I had to change. I opened up 3 different shops. One of them does absolutely no sales. I think it's gotten 6 or 5 sales because I have no idea what the hell I'm doing with that shop yet. My other one, the print one, it's made a couple of sales. It gets views, and I'm still putting stuff up. And my home decor is doing better than all 3. And I'm still sticking to it, and I'm not exactly where I want to be yet, but I'm still going with it. But again, stick to it. Don't give up. And guess what? And if you are a believer, as you said you were, 100% with your faith, and I know people, I always have to say this. Yes, I'm a Christian, so I'm sorry if you don't like this. If you don't like me, then that's cool. But here's the thing. If you're 100% in your faith, you should note this. Doubt is from who? Yes, doubt is from the devil. Basically, doubt is from all the negative energy trying to keep you down. And you have to remember that Got it, bro. And if it doesn't, I know where you live. Exactly. But the point being is that you're always going to get doubt, and the doubt seeds into you and gets in there and gets in your brain. And then you're like, oh, well, I don't know if I should do this because no one's going to buy it. Forget it. I'm not going to do it. Oh, no one likes this style that I do. Oh, I'm not going to do it. Well, then change your style. Try something new. But hold on. The pastor in my church, he actually wrote a book, and we did it on a small group study here. But basically, this is his book. I mean, this is a small group study, but I have the book. Don't let doubt take you out, bro. Those truer words have never been said. Okay, it is amazing that is exactly what stops us from doing things. Doubt. Every time we doubt ourselves, our ability to do something, our ability to be successful, our ability to get through something, our ability to adapt, all of that stuff, that's doubt, doubt, doubt. What if, what if, what if, what if? Forget the what ifs. And you know what? Answer the what ifs. So you got to do that. So anyways, this last part of the stream was a little motivational talk. If you're suffering through the, I don't know if I can do this, get off of your ass and try. You're never going to get anywhere if you don't try. Just like that person that's like single and I don't know, I'll never meet anyone. If you don't leave your freaking basement, you're never going to meet anyone. People are like, oh, I never meet anyone. Do you go anywhere to meet people? Do you go to places to where you can meet other people and have conversation? Or get Nord off your ass out by trying to... What? What does that mean? Oh, my gosh. Anyways, you know what I'm saying. Get off your ass and try is what you said. Exactly. Or get Nord off your ass by trying to. Ah, yes, I got you now. I couldn't read that. I'm like dyslexic or something. I have no idea. But I keep trying. I mean, how many times do I fail? Anyhow, listen. I just want to encourage you because I really think that you have huge potential that is just untapped. And I think you're limiting yourself. And I think a lot of us out there do the same exact thing, including me. We limit ourselves. We just put ourselves into this little box. And when it comes to faith and belief, being a believer, if you are a believer, for those of you that are, and have that part in your life where you have a relationship with your Lord and Savior, whoever that may be, he's not in a box. You don't compartmentalize your life and say, okay, you're allowed to be here, but not in here. Guess what? No. He should have access to everything. It's like when you're in a relationship. Think about your wife, for example. For those of you who have a wife, if you have a husband, then your husband. But think about your significant other for a moment. You love them, right? And you love them with your whole heart. You don't love them with part of your heart. You don't say to them, hey, only this part of my heart is for you. You're not allowed to be in this part. No, it's wholeheartedly. It's just like when you're married, everything about you, they know. They're involved in. If you are keeping something away from your significant other and being like, no, they're not, I'm married to them, but they're not allowed to be involved in this part of my life. Guess what? Your marriage isn't going to last very long. Okay? It's not. My faith is solid, but my will to be successful artist needs work. Tie those two together. Bring your faith to change your outlook on your success. Lord, help me with clearing this doubt and showing me and helping me through how I can be successful at this. If this is where I'm supposed to be, help me get through it. That's what you got to do. Help me to get to where you want me to be. If this is what it is. If this is not what it is, then show me where I'm supposed to be. That's all you can do. Computer, cancel. Freaking computer talking out there. Anyhow, if you like this, if this is the type of streams you want to see more of, guess what? If you made it this far and you're watching this ending thing, you know what to do. Hit the like button, make a comment. If you think if anything I said is completely wrong to you, and you're like, That doesn't make any sense. I would love to hear that, because I don't see anything that I said as being like against the possibilities of what can happen. And I will say this, because I already said it. It doesn't guarantee anything. It doesn't mean that you're going to be automatically successful, but stick to something. And if it's not working, change it and then see if that works. And you continue to make the recipe better until you find that secret sauce, that happy middle ground, that part that's going to take you to the next level. That's what you do. That's what I've been doing. And I found a little success in changing the product, in what I was offering. And yeah, I managed to turn it around. And let's see, 10 times 4 times 28. So basically, I think it's times 4 times 5 what I made the first year. So that's good. I mean, that's success. Not saying that it's, going to pay my bills for the rest of my life or anything, but there it goes. God speaks to us through others. Exactly. And that's what's happening right now. And you know what? I go to a men's group every Wednesday and we talk like this. We kind of like share. And I started talking and making them all talk, because I'm like, I'm not going to sit here and just read the Bible and just be like, this is what the Bible says. I'm like, no, we're talking about real life. We're talking about real situations. And we're going to talk about things that are going on in each other's lives. And this is what's going on in my life. And this is what I think. And what do you guys think? And that's how I do it. And that's how life is, man. Then you get a message and you pass it on to somebody else. But I had a guy that I talked to, I'm just going to tell you this last story before I go. And he was in a marriage and his wife had a business. I'm not going to say what kind of business, but she had a business, and she was struggling with it, and there was decisions that needed to be made, and she was losing money on some things. And so things were happening where she had to make big decisions. And he basically said, it's her business. I'm not getting involved, and she's going to have to figure it out. But I have to figure out my stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, no. And I told him, I was like, hey, I get what you're saying and all that. It is her business. And yes, she has to do a part, but is this not your wife? Or you're not married? So aren't you, it's not like, oh, it's her business, I'm hands off. It's like, no, man, you guys what she's doing is bringing in money for the family, for you. It's not like she's putting the money away for herself. So therefore you are involved. You need to be a part of it. You need to see, okay, what's going on? What can we do? Help her out. That's why you're in a relationship. You are a team. And then we had that serious conversation. It's like, you're right. And he got involved and they got over the hump, and they're, continuing to get over humps together now. But the idea is that sometimes, unless we talk to someone else, like you said, God speaks to us through others. Unless we talk to someone else, we're not hearing anything other than what we're thinking. And sometimes what we're thinking is so freaking narrow and so freaking like just blinders. We only see tunnel vision. And we need other people to be like, hey, cut that out. Listen to me. Look at this. Did you not see this area over here? Did you not see this? So limiting, exactly. So anyhow, this is why I stream. And this is what I miss about streams. I got so wrapped up in what game are we playing and just, laughing about stuff and having a good time. But the bottom line is, the whole reason why I ever started streaming in 2018 is because I wanted to be able to share ideas, talk to people, talk about real things, and maybe make a difference. If I can make a little difference in somebody's life, that's all that matters to me. It's not about money. It's about making a difference. Anyhow. All right. With that said, hey, Juan, good to see you, man. I'm glad you got in. At least we got to talk a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and when I finish, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to publish the VOD, and then you'll be able to watch it. But watch it whenever you want. It's always going to be here. It'll be here for the next 3 months, because until Twitch takes it away, it'll probably be on YouTube. And also check out those videos, links that I sent you. If you didn't see them, make sure you scroll up now before they go away, or you watch the stream again. And I don't think you can see them on the stream, but if you don't get them, just let me know and I'll send them to you again. But you can do it, brother. I got faith in you. Have a blessed weekend, you too, guys. Take care of yourselves. Whatever you do something good. Get outdoors, touch grass or touch snow, whatever it is that you have around you, and tell somebody you care. You know, see what somebody needs. Have a good one, guys. Take care of yourselves. I'm out. Peace.